the school beauty's personal bodyguard. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 301 Xixing Bias. I think that after he eats the food I cook, he will definitely not think about coming to my house again. He must be afraid of being poisoned, Guanxin explained embarrassedly. How, Lin Yi had already roughly guessed some of Guanxin's intentions. Guanxin had described his granddaughter to Lin Yi more than once, saying how good she was, that she was a great cook and well educated. Lin Yi naturally understood the old man's thoughts. Guanxin said this to Lin Yi, and he must have said similar things to Guanxin at home, so it was normal for Guanxin to resist. Any girl would be unhappy if she was suddenly told that a young talent would come to her house and ask her to go and get along with him. Guanxin was furious. This was the first time he felt embarrassed by his granddaughter. Lin Yi is my guest after all. How could you do this? You two have known each other for a long time, so it's okay. If it were someone you didn't know, he would have slammed the door and left by now. How can this be considered treating someone to a meal? You are simply trying to poison them to death. I'm sorry, Grandpa. Guanxin lowered her head. She only now felt that she seemed to have gone too far. She hadn't thought too much about it before. She just wanted that young talent to leave quickly. Now she thought about how Grandpa would save face if this really happened. Haha, it's okay, Grandpa Guan, don't blame Guanxin. Lin Yi smiled and said, actually, to be honest, you kept telling me how good your granddaughter was, and I was a little hesitant to come to your house. It's normal for Guanxin to have similar emotions, really? So, I'm the one worrying too much? Guanxin thought about it and seemed to be a little anxious about this matter. He shook his head. Okay, let Aunt Liu cook a few side dishes, let me go. Guanxin stood up a little embarrassedly. All the dishes on the table were picked up. It was a pity, but it was indeed not something that normal people could eat. Lin Yi turned the topic to medicine, and Guanxin quickly forgot the previous unpleasantness and discussed the prescription with Lin Yi with a beaming face. When Guanxin brought several plates of hot dishes to the table, Guanxin had completely forgotten what happened before. Xixing, come and pour some wine for Grandpa. Well, Guanxin glanced at Lin Yi, feeling a little suspicious. Is this man amazing? Not only is he very skilled, but he also knows medicine? It's not easy for someone to be so highly praised by his grandfather. The next few dishes that Guanxin cooked were very ordinary. A dish of scrambled eggs with green onions, a dish of stir-fried mushrooms, a dish of stir-fried tofu, a plate of vegetarian smashed cucumbers, and a pot of hot and sour egg soup, all served on the table hot. 4 ordinary home-cooked dishes plus an ordinary soup were cooked to perfection in Guanxin's hands. Try it again this time, Guanxin said to Lin Yi embarrassedly after pouring wine for her grandfather. Lin Yi nodded, picked up a chopstick of stir-fried mushrooms, but said ho and thought to himself, has he actually caught up with his level? How is it? Guanxin exclaimed ho when she heard Lin Yi say this. She didn't know whether it was delicious or not. She looked at Lin Yi nervously, waiting for his answer. However, for these home-cooked dishes, Guanxin had already tried her best and brought the skills of a little chef to the extreme. I didn't expect that home-cooked dishes could be so delicious, Lin Yi praised. Old man Lin at home also often praised him like this. Then eat more. Guanxin was a little happy and smiled. Try something else, okay? Lin Yi nodded, took a few bites of the other dishes and put them in his mouth, nodding constantly. Grandpa Guan, I now know that what you said before is true. Guanxin is really a little chef. That's right. Guanxin nodded. How about it? If you want to eat in the future, you must come here often. No problem. Lin Yi nodded readily. Guanxin tasted a few dishes that Guanxin had just cooked, but frowned after taking a bite. Xixing, are you biased? I have eaten these dishes before, why are they not as delicious as today's? It seems that with Lin Yi's arrival, the treatment is different. It is directly upgraded from the previous poisonous dishes to delicious dishes that Grandpa has never eaten. Grandpa Guanxin was a little embarrassed by what Guanxin said. Haha, Zai, it seems that you have to come often. I, an old man, have to enjoy the food with you. Guanxin said with a smile. I will definitely come here often, Lin Yi nodded. In addition to responding to Guanxin's invitation, the main reason he came this time was to discuss with Guanxin about starting a pharmaceutical company. If it was really finalized, he would have to come to Guanzuman often in the future. Guanzin felt embarrassed, and glanced at Lin Yi, a little surprised, and a little confused. It seemed that she had another chance. He often came to the house, and the relationship between the two would definitely go further, but was it right to do so? After dinner, Guanzin went to clean up the dishes, and Lin Yi and Guanzuman went upstairs to Guanzuman's study. After closing the study door, Lin Yi regained his serious expression. "Grandpa Guan, I came here this time because I actually have an important matter to discuss with you." "Oh? What's the matter?" Guanzuman was slightly stunned. He didn't expect that Lin Yi had something to discuss with him. Originally, Guanzuman wanted to study the condition of Liu Xianai's father, Liu Zhenhu, with Lin Yi. Guanzuman could only barely control Liu Zhenhu's angina pectoris, but it was impossible to cure him. So Guanzuman wanted to discuss with Lin Yi to see if there was any good way. But since Lin Yi had something to do, let's talk about Lin Yi's business first. "Grandpa Guan, I want to set up a pharmaceutical company to sell some Chinese patent medicines," Lin Yi said straight to the point. "I want to borrow the title of Dr. Guan." "Grandpa Guan, oh? You want to set up a pharmaceutical company?" Guanzuman was stunned, but he didn't care much about Lin Yi's subsequent words of borrowing the title. Now there are many pharmaceutical companies in the country. If there is no special medicine to show off, it will not have any great effect just by relying on my fame. Dr. Kang can become a first-class domestic pharmaceutical company with a golden wound medicine. Why can't we? Lin Yi smiled indifferently. He has golden medicine. We can make rejuvenation pills and blood clotting powder. Anyway, there are many similar names in martial arts novels, so we can take a lot. Oh, Guanzuman was stunned. Do you have a prescription for golden medicine? I haven't seen what his golden medicine is yet, but I have a prescription with similar effects. And the effect will not be worse than his, Lin Yi said. Chapter 302, Issues with Startup Capital. Guanzuman looked at Lin Yi in shock. The formula for Jinchuang medicine had always been an industry secret, unknown. Although many pharmaceutical companies had paid high prices to hire Chinese medicine practitioners for research, they had never come up with a formula. And Lin Yi actually had a formula with similar efficacy? But thinking of Lin Yi's analgesic prescription, Guanzuman had no doubt that Lin Yi was just talking. If he said it existed, it must exist. If he said it worked, it must work. Guanzuman was convinced of this. If it really exists, combined with the analgesic prescription we have, with these two flagship products on the market, we could compete with Dr. Kang. Guanzuman nodded. He wasn't particularly interested in business, but he was deeply intrigued by Lin Yi's prescription. "Grandpa Guan, I'd like to invest in it with my prescription, borrow your reputation, and we could jointly establish a pharmaceutical company. Are you interested?" Lin Yi expressed his thoughts. Through a few encounters, Lin Yi had a rough understanding of Guanzuman. He cared little for fame and fortune, having almost no desire for them. Instead, he placed great importance on the prescription. It wasn't that he was greedy to keep the prescription for himself, but rather that he wanted to study its pharmacological properties. "I'll give you my fame for free," Guanzuman waved his hand. "I've got enough to eat and wear. There's no point asking for so much money. But do you know how much capital it takes to start a pharmaceutical company? Especially since we have to own this kind of formula ourselves. We can't outsource it to other factories. We also need a complete production line. Without 100 million yuan in startup capital, I'm afraid it wouldn't be possible." 100 million yuan, Lin Yi, with no business experience, was slightly taken aback. "It's indeed a bit much. Mr. Guan, do you have money? I'd be fine with a smaller stake." 100 million yuan was nothing to Lin Yi before. Although the old man had lied to him about each assignment, Lin Yi knew full well that many of his own assignments were worth over 100 million yuan. He simply didn't want to argue with this stingy old man. He'd raise him, so there was no need to argue with him. But now, Lin Yi was truly short of cash, realizing that without it, he could do nothing. "Haha, my money, aside from covering my daily expenses, and the consultation fees, I've basically donated to the medical cause," Guanzuman chuckled. "You know, at my level, I don't need to spend much. The school basically covers all my daily expenses." Lin Yi was now in a dilemma. It seemed he'd been a bit naive, thinking that just having the formula would make money, but he hadn't considered the issue of startup capital. If he could raise investment, Lin Yi could certainly secure it. He could talk to Chu Pengzhan about the prospects of this industry, confident he'd be interested. However, He hadn't yet resolved his own internal issues, and Lin Yi wasn't willing to hand over the formula to such an uncertain company. While it wasn't that Lin Yi didn't trust Chu Pengzhan, the crucial issue was whether Chu Pengzhan would own the company in the future. Even if it did, those bastard shareholders within the company were capable of assassinating Chu Mengyao, not to mention whether they'd be tempted to take the formula for themselves. My eldest son does have some money, but I won't use it. Seeing that Lin Yi didn't say anything, Guan Zuman continued, he's a bit greedy. He can't be involved in this. Oh, Lin Yi was stunned. He didn't expect Guan Zuman to say that. Most people would think of their children first when something good happened, but Guan Zuman flatly denied the possibility of letting his eldest son participate. He has enough money to spend. I don't want to hurt him. Guan Zuman smiled and said, my youngest son, Xixing's father, is doing business temporarily and has some money. However, his company is not very big. I estimate that the entire industry combined is only 200 or 300 million. There is no such thing as that much working capital. Therefore, I don't want either of them to be involved in this. I'm still healthy now, so it's okay. I'll do it later. Guan Zuman didn't continue, but he believed that Lin Yi would definitely understand what he said. Indeed, Lin Yi understood Guan Zuman's words, and he was shocked. Although he had previously determined that Guan Zuman was an upright elder who cared nothing for fame and fortune, he hadn't expected him to see so clearly, to exclude these two family members as soon as he had just expressed his intention to cooperate. Grandpa Guan, it's no problem for them to give them some shares. Lin Yi felt a little embarrassed. No thanks, Guan Zuman shook his head. Forget them, I don't even want the shares. Huh? Lin Yi was stunned. How can that be? How can I borrow your fame? Listen to me, kid. Guan Zuman was interrupted by Lin Yi, and he didn't know whether to laugh or cry. I haven't finished speaking yet. Okay, Grandpa Guan, go ahead. Lin Yi and Guan Zuman were now familiar with each other, no longer as reserved as they had been at first. In fact, the two had already become close friends since their last medical discussion. Xixing is my most beloved granddaughter. If possible, you can transfer a small portion of the shares to her name, Guan Zuman said. It doesn't have to be much, just enough for her future living. That's no problem, Lin Yi agreed without a second thought. Don't rush to agree. You still have to find a way to start yourself. Guan Zuman waved his hand and said solemnly, although my face is very useful among major families and can attract a lot of investment, it's best not to let others participate in this pharmaceutical company. The profits of the Kang family's Jinshuang medicine are already enviable, but there's no way others can infiltrate. They are completely family managed and have no outsiders involved. Guan Zuman continued, as long as Mr. Kang is still alive, there will be no problems. But if you let others participate in your company, I can't guarantee that my face will still be effective in the face of interests. I understand, Grandpa Guan. I will find a way to deal with the funding myself. Lin Yi nodded. Guan Zuman didn't say anything else. Although 100 million in startup capital seemed like a fantasy to an ordinary person, Guan Zuman knew that Lin Yi was no ordinary person. How could Yang Huaijian's teammate, someone with such amazing medical skills, be just an ordinary person? By the way, I have a patient's condition that I'd like to discuss with you. Could you please give me some advice and see if there are any good treatment options? Guan Zuman said as he began to pull out a stack of medical records that had been prepared on the table. Chapter 303 Little Miracle Doctor. The medical records are useless. Lin Yi waved his hand, not looking at the medical records Guan Zuman had brought over. Instead, he said, since this is your patient, Grandpa Guan, I'll take a look at it with you. Okay. I'll call him right now and have him come over. Guan Zuman nodded. Lin Yi was right. Reading medical records was always less intuitive than seeing a patient. Having Lin Yi consult with old man Liu was much better than studying alone. Oh? The patient is nearby, Lin Yi asked, somewhat surprised. Yes, he lives in this neighborhood. It's only a few minutes drive away, very quick. With that, Guan Zuman picked up the phone on his desk and dialed a number. In the residential compound of Songshan Medical University, in a luxurious villa comparable to Guan Zuman's residence, a young man in his 20s was angrily talking to a middle-aged woman. And, Sun Jinggai's actions really show she's totally disrespecting our Wu family, aren't they? Our Wu family is, after all, a martial arts family, one of the 4 great guardian families. What's their Sun family? It's just an emerging family. I've already given them face by proposing marriage. But the old man of the Sun family is so ungrateful. He said he doesn't want to meddle in young people's affairs and told me to work hard on my own. The person who spoke was Wu Chenshin, the most promising young man of the Wu family's younger generation, known as the Little Wu Iron Hand. The Sun family has expanded its business tremendously in recent years, and has established connections in the political arena. It's true that they're an emerging family, but they're already qualified enough to stand shoulder to shoulder with other ancient families. Liu Xianyi glared at his nephew. But Sun Jingyi and I were childhood sweethearts, and she's gone too far. She secretly found a boyfriend and made me look bad, Wu Chenshin said resentfully. If it weren't for him, how could I have lost my wallet and been despised? Okay. Xia Ocean, Auntie will help you, Wu Huru said. Anyway, your uncle's father still needs to recuperate here for a while, so Auntie will set up a company for you and show that girl from the Sun family the talents of our Wu men. Thank you, Auntie. Wu Chenshin was overjoyed. He had been in this strange city, unsure of what to do, but now with Auntie's help, he was determined to carve out a career and show Sun Jingyi just how capable he was. Ring, the living room phone rang. Who's calling so late? Xianyi, didn't I tell you to unplug the phone line tonight? What if it disturbs Dad's rest? Wu Huru complained as she heard the phone ring. Unplug what? What if something happens? Liu Xianyi glared at Wu Huru. What else could it be? This landline was in the old villa. You must have called the wrong owner? Wu Huru curled her lips. Who wouldn't call a cell phone if they knew us? Yes, Uncle, Auntie is right. Forget it. Wu Chenshin was chatting happily with his auntie, ready to further discuss how to win Sun Jingyi's heart after establishing the company, when the ringing of the phone interrupted him. Liu Xianyi frowned, ignoring his wife and nephew, and answered the phone. Hello, this is Liu Xianyi. Xianyi? This is Guanzuman. Bring your father over now. I've called in a specialist and you're going to consult with him to see if there's a chance of a cure. Guanzuman's voice came from the other end of the line. Okay, Mr. Guan. I'll take my father over right away. Thank you. Liu Xianyi nodded and thanked Guanzuman repeatedly. He was deeply grateful for Guanzuman's concern for his father's affairs. You know, although the Liu family is currently one of the most powerful among the aristocratic families, it's also because of the fact that old man Liu Zhenhu is still alive, so many people give him face. Once the old man passes away, the Liu family will definitely fall a level. After hanging up the phone, Liu Xianyi glared at his wife fiercely. You almost ruined everything. Elder Guan has invited an expert to consult with Dad. If you can't answer this call, can you bear the responsibility? I'll help Dad down right away. Wu Huru didn't dare to say anything more, and went upstairs with her head lowered. Recently, Liu Xianyi has become more and more manly, and Wu Huru dared not make a fuss anymore, instead becoming more submissive. HMPH. Be careful, Liu Xianyi warned. Chenshin, go with your aunt to help your grandpa Liu down. Wu Huru winked at Wu Chenshin. Old man Liu was a big shot. If he fell in love with Wu Chenshin and went to the Sun family to speak for Wu Chenshin, then the old man of the Sun family would probably give him face. Wu Chenshin naturally understood and followed his aunt upstairs. 10 minutes later, elderly Liu Zhenhu, supported by Wu Huru and Wu Chenshin, came downstairs. Liu Xianyi had already parked his car at the entrance to the villa. After they got in, he drove directly to Guanzuman's villa. When Liu Zhenhu heard that a specialist was coming to see him, his sleepiness vanished, and he felt a surge of hope. Even an old man over 70 wanted to live a few more years. It wasn't that Liu Zhenhu was afraid of death, but rather that he was attached to the descendants of the Liu family. Aunt Liu opened the door and invited the Liu family into the villa. Guanzuman and Lin Yi were waiting on the sofa in the living room. Lin Yi was visibly taken aback when he saw Liu Zhenhu, Liu Xianyi, and the others. He hadn't expected the patient Guanzuman was referring to was Liu Zhenhu. Liu Xianyi's family was also taken aback when they saw Lin Yi on the sofa, but excitement lit up the faces of Liu Zhenhu and Liu Xianyi. Guanzuman has found this little miracle doctor. Does that mean his father's illness can be cured? However, Wu Chenshin's face looked very ugly. He didn't expect to meet Lin Yi here, and he didn't expect that Lin Yi would sit with the miracle Dr. Guan who treated Grandpa Liu. He wanted to say something, but he held back. After all, this was neither the Wu family nor the Liu family, and it was not his turn to speak. He could only look at Lin Yi with resentment. Little miracle doctor. I didn't expect to see you here. It's great, Liu Xianyi was a little excited, and stepped forward to shake Lin Yi's hand. When Liu Xianyi heard Guanzuman praising Lin Yi so much before, he felt a little regretful. He was in such a hurry that day that he didn't leave his contact information, which made Liu Xianyi regret it. Lin Yi didn't reach out to shake Liu Xianyi's hand. In this family, except for the old man who spoke well, Lin Yi didn't have a good impression of the others. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 304. This kid is a bit annoying. Liu Xianyi suddenly felt awkward. Who was he? Normally, many people would fawn over him, but he'd taken the initiative to shake Lin Yi's hand, only to be snubbed, leaving him feeling embarrassed. However, if Lin Yi was truly as remarkable as Guanzuman claimed, it was only natural for him to be arrogant. Miracle doctors are often courted, so it was normal for him to be indifferent. Uncle. Don't let him fool you. I know this guy, he's not some miracle doctor at all. Wu Chenshin was furious when he saw his uncle treating Lin Yi with such respect. He's Sun Jingai's boyfriend. A little liar, Wu Chenshin found it difficult to connect the title of miracle doctor with Lin Yi. There was no way this guy was a miracle doctor. He'd even indirectly asked Sun Jingai what Lin Yi did for a living. Although Sun Jingai tried to conceal the truth, Wu Chenshin still got a message. This guy definitely didn't have a proper job and was one of those unemployed vagrants. Otherwise, with Sun Jingai's personality, she wouldn't have been able to stop bragging about her boyfriend's virtues to him. If Lin Yi was really some miracle doctor, Sun Jingai would have used this to attack her long ago. Why would she keep it hidden? That was why Wu Chenshin dared to suddenly attack, because in his opinion, Lin Yi was definitely not a miracle doctor, and these people must have been deceived by Lin Yi. Liu Xianyi was stunned, Wu Huru was also stunned, and Guanzuman was even more stunned. They all looked at Lin Yi in surprise. Okay, I'm a liar. What everyone did not expect was that Lin Yi actually admitted it frankly. Since someone doesn't want to see me, then goodbye. Grandpa Guan, I will visit you next time, Lin Yi said, and stood up to leave. What a joke. Lin Yi didn't owe the Liu family anything. He treated Grandpa Liu purely out of Guanzuman's face. Since someone in their family said he was a liar, Lin Yi didn't bother to explain. You say I'm a liar, and I'm too lazy to treat you. Go see wherever you want. We'll see each other later. Alice, Guanzuman sighed. He was not angry at all about Lin Yi's behavior, but he looked at Wu Chenshin with displeasure. He didn't know what the relationship between this kid and Liu Xianyi was. Why was he brought here to embarrass himself? Now that Lin Yi has been angered, he won't treat your old man. What are you going to do? Speaking of age, Wu Chenshin is a few years older than Lin Yi, but in Guanzuman's eyes, he has become an ignorant child. And Lin Yi is his friend regardless of age, and his teacher. Lin Yi raised his leg and walked towards the door of the villa without mercy. Guanzuman did not stop him. Liu Xianyi was stunned, but anxious. He finally found Lin Yi. How could he let him go like this? Liu Xianyi didn't care about his identity and stepped forward to grab Lin Yi. Little doctor, please stay. Why stay? Lin Yi curled his lips. Someone said I was a liar, Pa. Liu Xianyi slapped Wu Huru in the face. Although he was Wu Chenshin's uncle, Wu Chenshin was still a member of the Wu family after all, and he was a rising star of the younger generation. It was not easy for him to discipline him directly, so he could only vent his anger on his wife, who was also a member of the Wu family. It is natural for a man to discipline his wife. Even if the Wu family knew about it, they would not say anything. After Wu Huru married, she was a member of the Liu family. What are you looking at your nephew for? What good have you done? Liu Xianyi roared in frustration. A kind aunt often ruins her nephew, and you are the epitome of that. Wu Huru was stunned by Liu Xianyi's sudden slap, but when she came to her senses, she knew that she really shouldn't have brought Wu Chenshin here. She had angered the young doctor and refused to treat old man Liu. If the Liu brothers knew about it, they would probably unite and divorce her, the eldest sister-in-law. Pa! Wu Huru slapped Wu Chenshin in the face and shouted, what nonsense are you talking about? If you say anything more, I will call my eldest brother and tell you to get out of here. Wu Chenshin was slapped by his aunt, but he dared not say anything. There are many rules in a large family, and it is natural for elders to teach the younger ones. So Wu Chenshin lowered his head, and all his resentment was focused on Lin Yi. In his opinion, all this was thanks to Lin Yi. Young doctor, look, Liu Xianyi had already made enough gestures, looking at Lin Yi with a pleading look. Yes, it is a prayer. Being able to cure his father's illness is his greatest wish. Oh, this kid is a bit annoying, I don't want to see him anymore. Lin Yi glanced at Wu Chenshin and said. Weiwu, why don't you take Chenshin out? Liu Xianyi glared at Wu Huru. Why are you so tactless? You have already seen that the little doctor hates your nephew, why don't you let him disappear from the doctor's sight? Oh, okay, Wu Huru pushed Wu Chenshin. Xia Ocean, let's go out first. Wu Chenshin snorted, a little dissatisfied, looked at Lin Yi viciously, made a mouth shape of you wait for me, and then left Guanzuman's villa with Wu Huru. Lin Yi simply didn't even look at Wu Chenshin. No matter what he said, there were many people who wanted to make him look good, but no one had done so far. Of course, except that his own old man could abuse him so much that he had no temper. Little doctor, I've kicked that useless brat out. Now, can you treat my father? Liu Xianyi looked at Lin Yi and asked carefully. Did I say I would treat your father? Lin Yi glanced at Liu Xianyi. Did this guy's forehead get hit by the door? When did he promise him to treat his father? This, Liu Xianyi's expression froze, and he groaned inwardly. Indeed, Lin Yi had never promised to treat his father. He had only said that he hated Wu Chenshin before. Little doctor, please treat my father, okay? My nephew has offended you before, and I apologize to you on his behalf. It was indeed not easy to get Liu Xianyi to lower his posture like this. But he really placed his hopes on Lin Yi. After seeing Lin Yi's magic with his own eyes that day, and with Guanzuman's praise for Lin Yi, Liu Xianyi had no doubt that Lin Yi was a real talent. If it were anyone else, even if he was a miracle doctor, Liu Xianyi would never be so humble. However, Liu Xianyi didn't dare underestimate this young man who even Guanzuman and Guan Shenyu respected as an expert. Especially Lin Yi's temper. Powerful people all had tempers to some extent. This was normal, and Liu Xianyi understood it, so he was even more certain that Lin Yi was an expert. I'm done with it, Lin Yi snorted impatiently. No need to read it anymore. Even if he's cured, it's useless. He'll only live another 10 or 8 years before he dies. Isn't it a waste of my time and energy? Chapter 305 Blackmail. As soon as Lin Yi said this, the whole audience was in an uproar. Including Guanzuman, who looked at Lin Yi in amazement. If the disease is under control, Mr. Liu can indeed live for another 10 or 8 years, but that is under the condition of keeping the disease under control and preventing angina attacks. An old man at Liu Zhenhu's age, if he lives for another 10 or 8 years, he will be exhausted. Even if Hua Tuo is alive, he can't change his fate. And how can this be called a cure? Birth, aging, sickness and death are common to all people. It is normal for descendants to die within 10 or 8 years. Ha ha ha. Young man, you are right. I, an old man, will have to be buried in another 10 or 8 years. That is natural. However, if you can prevent me from being tortured by illness in these years, I will be very grateful. Liu Zhenhu is no longer very afraid of death at this age, and what Lin Yi said is also true. Crucially, Liu Zhenhu knew full well that his daughter-in-law had offended Lin Yi from the very beginning, and her nephew had also offended Lin Yi. How could he possibly treat him? Treat me? For your sake, old man, I'll do it with all my reluctance, but I'll charge a fee. The only person Lin Yi thought well of was old man Liu Zhenhu. After all, the old man was grateful and had previously invited him to visit Beijing, so Lin Yi had a good impression of him. However, he felt a little uncomfortable agreeing to treat him so easily, so he sought a compromise. Charge, no problem, Liu Xianyi nodded in agreement upon hearing Lin Yi's terms. Paying for medical treatment was a matter of course, and Liu Xianyi had no objection. Excuse me, young doctor, how much does it cost? 10 million a year, Lin Yi said. A year to cure? But 10 million, no problem, Liu Xianyi hesitated, then nodded. While 10 million was a significant sum, it was nothing compared to his father's health. Are you okay? Lin Yi frowned after hearing Liu Xianyi's words. I said 10 million a year, not 10 million in total, huh? Liu Xianyi was stunned, his temper rising. He suspected Lin Yi might be taking advantage of his situation, but there was nothing he could do. He had already offended Lin Yi deeply, and getting him to relent was practically impossible. He didn't dare show his displeasure, as that might deter him from treating the patient even if he paid. So, how much will the total cost be? Didn't I just say he can live another 10 or 8 years? Can't you do the math? Lin Yi gave Liu Xianyi a disdainful look. So, doesn't that mean 80 million? Liu Xianyi was shocked. That was a truly enormous sum. 80 million, Lin Yi couldn't help but laugh. Okay, you want your old man to suddenly fall ill in 8 years, then 80 million, anyway, if he doesn't die in 8 years, he will definitely die once he gets sick. This, Liu Xianyi couldn't help but smile bitterly after hearing Lin Yi's words. It seemed that Lin Yi wanted 100 million from him. If he wanted 100 million, then just say it clearly. It seemed as if he was reluctant to spend money on his father. He couldn't guarantee that his father could only live for 8 years. According to what Lin Yi said, 80 million would only cover 8 years, and if he suddenly fell ill and died 8 years later, then he would be an unfilial son. Guan Zuman also understood at this moment. His face was a little strange. He had just told Lin Yi that there was no startup capital, and now the startup capital came? Lin Yi's extortion was really loud. Although Guan Zuman knew that Lin Yi was just taking advantage of the situation, who made the Liu family offend Lin Yi? Guan Zuman had been silent the whole time. In this situation, it was not easy for him to interrupt. Mr. Guan, look, Liu Xianyi was a little helpless. If it was 10 million, he could take it out immediately, but for 100 million, he would have to plan it out. Isn't it a bit too much? So, he wanted Guan Zuman to help him speak. Mr. Liu, you really think too highly of me? Guan Zuman shook his head. The relationship between Lin Yi and me can only be regarded as a teacher and a friend. I can't interfere with him or anything. Teacher and friend? That's half a teacher, if you ask. Liu Xianyi said this, a little helpless. To be honest, although the Liu family is a big family, it is a bit difficult to take out 100 million in cash. Would you ask your teacher to do anything? Guan Zuman said with a wry smile. Huh? Liu Xianyi was stunned, not understanding what Guan Zuman said. Xiao Yi, you are half a teacher to me. Guan Zuman didn't feel embarrassed at all. He was an upright man. He admired Lin Yi's medical skills, so he said what he meant and would not hide anything for fear of losing face. What? Liu Xianyi was shocked, looking at Lin Yi in disbelief. Guan Zuman actually said Lin Yi was his teacher? How could this be possible? However, Liu Xianyi, a man who had seen the world, immediately understood. Yes, Guan Zuman was powerless to treat his father's illness, so how could his student possibly do so? The only possibility was that Lin Yi was more powerful than Guan Zuman. That's all I have to say. Guan Zuman waved his hand and said, I've introduced Xiao Yi to you. Whether to treat the disease or not is up to you. But don't worry, even if you don't pay the 100 million, I will do my best. If possible, I will also ask Xiao Yi for help. 100 million? Okay. No problem. After figuring out the relationship between Lin Yi and Guan Zuman, Liu Xianyi agreed without hesitation. Although 100 million in cash was a bit difficult for the Liu family, selling some of their stocks and real estate could make up the amount. And his father, the core figure of the Liu family, could not afford any mishaps. As long as his father was alive and well, the Liu family had hope. Okay, call me when you have the money ready. Lin Yi nodded and said without further ado, you can find me by looking for Grandpa Guan. I'm leaving first. It's getting late today. Okay, Dr. Lin, do you need me to take you there? Liu Xianyi had already made up his mind, so he was relieved. Isn't it just 100 million? Compared with his father's health, it really doesn't matter. The Liu family is different from other emerging families. The reason why the Liu family is so prosperous now is entirely because of Liu Zhenhu's connections and face. Liu Xianyi wanted to take Lin Yi there because he wanted to know where Lin Yi lived. Now he was not worried about the 100 million, but was afraid that Lin Yi would regret it. No need, I drove here by myself. Lin Yi waved his hand lightly. Grandpa Guan, I'll go back today. Please tell Guanzin to come visit again in 2 days. Chapter 306 Parting on Bad Terms. Okay, Guan Zuman nodded. Be careful on the road. You've been drinking. If you drive, I woke up a long time ago. Grandpa Guan, do I look drunk? Lin Yi smiled. Drinking? Lin Yi rarely gets drunk. Ever since practicing the Xuanyuan Yulong Jue, Lin Yi's alcohol tolerance has also increased. The old man in the family often drags Lin Yi to drink with him, but after drinking, the old man always gets drunk, while Lin Yi is fine. This makes the old man very depressed. Drinking with someone who can't get drunk is not fun at all. Later, the old man simply stopped Lin Yi from drinking and asked him to drink boiled water instead. The reason is simple. He thinks Lin Yi is wasting alcohol. Since drinking alcohol is the same as drinking water, why not just drink water? Guan Zuman nodded. Lin Yi really doesn't look drunk. The bamboo teasing he just gave was enough to make the Liu family lose their temper. After Lin Yi left, Liu Xianyi let out a long sigh and looked at Guan Zuman with a wry smile. Mr. Guan, I'm sorry to trouble you. After all, Liu Xianyi had originally sought treatment from Guan Zuman, and now he had suddenly switched to Lin Yi, which seemed somewhat disrespectful to Guan Zuman. Although Lin Yi was also introduced by Guan Zuman, Liu Xianyi still had to explain. He had been too attentive to Lin Yi before, and he was worried about what Guan Zuman would think. Although Lin Yi was a miracle doctor, Guan Zuman was also a miracle doctor, and Liu Xianyi didn't dare to offend him easily. Guan Zuman waved his hand. I don't have the ability myself, but I also hope that my patients can get better. Did you know Lin Yi before? He's the man I was talking about last time, the one who saved my father's life, Liu Xianyi explained. So, that's why I believe he can cure my father's illness. Okay, Xianyi, Liu Zhen who spoke up at this time. When you raise money, raise an extra 2 million for Professor Guan. Okay, Dad, Liu Xianyi nodded quickly. Forget about my consultation fee. I didn't cure your illness, Mr. Liu. Guan Zuman waved his hand, ready to refuse. No matter what, you have helped me for so many days, this money should be given to me, Liu Zhenhu said. In his opinion, even if it is an introduction fee to Guan Zuman, it is acceptable. Okay, then I'll take it. Guan Zuman thought about it. Although Lin Yi had just extorted 100 million for consultation fees, he might still need money after opening a company. An extra 2 million would be good, so he accepted it. After chatting for a few more words, Liu Xianyi stood up to say goodbye. It was getting late, and it was obvious that Guan Zuman had drunk a lot of wine. He couldn't disturb his rest. On the way back, Wu He was shocked to hear that Lin Yi actually asked for 100 million. Although the Wu family is relatively powerful, it is, after all, a hidden family of ancient martial arts with relatively few industries. This 100 million is enough for the Wu family to spend for several years. Uncle, that Lin Yi is such a liar. He's Sun Jinggai's boyfriend. How could he be a miracle doctor? Don't let him fool you. Wu Chenshin was immediately upset when he heard Lin Yi's exorbitant demands. If Lin Yi got 100 million, what would he have to compete with Lin Yi? Sun Jinggai was afraid that she wouldn't even look at him at that time. And the ridiculous thing was that all this was caused by his uncle's family. Wu Chenshin, what nonsense are you talking about? What do you know? Why don't you shut up? Liu Xianyi was immediately angry when he saw that his nephew was so ignorant. Don't you think the trouble you've caused is big enough? You've offended miraculous Dr. Lin. Do you want to kill your grandpa Liu? Humph. Uncle, I'm doing this for your own good. Since you don't want to listen, forget it. I won't bother you from now on. Wu Chenshin suddenly showed the stubborn temper of a young master. He was the most promising of the younger generation in the Wu family and the one with the greatest hope of practicing Iron Hand Kung Fu to the Xuan level. Therefore, he was respected everywhere in the family. How could he have been treated so unfairly? Xia Ocean. Don't be impulsive. Apologize to your uncle. Wu He was a little anxious and hurriedly pulled Wu Chenshin's hand. Apologize? Humph, Wu Chenshin sneered, and, since my uncle looks down on our Wu family, forget it. Do you want to go back to the Wu family with me, or stay here? Xia Ocean, stop it. Wu He didn't expect Wu Chenshin to be so angry. Okay, and, since you are already a member of the Liu family, I won't force you. A trace of determination flashed across Wu Chenshin's eyes. Stop the car, I want to get off. Liu Xianyi naturally would not indulge Wu Chenshin. He parked the car directly on the side of the road and sneered. Since this kid from the Wu family is so ungrateful, don't blame your uncle for being ruthless. Other things are easy to talk about, but now that it involves his father's illness, he will definitely not give Wu Chenshin a good face. The Wu family, huh? Even if they were Wu family, he was just a junior, yet he was so arrogant in front of him. Liu Xianyi was furious. Wu He, are you going back with him too? I won't be joining Xia Ocean in his mischief. Wu Huru sighed helplessly, knowing that from today on, a rift between the Wu and Liu families would inevitably appear. But now that she was a daughter-in-law of the Liu family, she had to side with him. It was fundamental to being a wife. If she joined the Wu family in a quarrel, she would only be ridiculed. She wanted to mediate, but she didn't know how. Wu Chenshin was right to be angry, but Lin Yi was Sun Jinggai's boyfriend, and that alone wouldn't make him look good. But Lin Yi was the one who could save his father-in-law, so this matter was really difficult to resolve. Huru, go down and see him off. After all, he's your nephew. Liu Zhenhu, who had been silent until then, spoke up. He didn't want to say anything about the Wu family's affairs. As the head of the Liu family, he couldn't interfere in their affairs. No matter how the Wu family's nephews and nieces fared, they were still managed by the Wu family. It wasn't anyone else's turn to comment. Okay, Dad, Wu Huru nodded, escorted Wu Chenshin to the car, took a few steps, and whispered, Xia Ocean, don't mess around. That Lin Yi is truly a skilled doctor, and, are you helping him too? Wu Chenshin snorted unhappily. If you want to deal with him, at least wait until he cures my father-in-law's illness. To be honest, I'm also very unhappy with his exorbitant demands. If you can get the 100 million back from me later, I'm sure my uncle will be very happy to see it, Wu Huru whispered. And, since you said that, that's all. Wu Chenshin was delighted. Curing the illness would only take a few days, and then he could deal with Lin Yi on his own. As long as the Liu family didn't interfere. Wouldn't it be a piece of cake for Wu Chenshin? Chapter 307 Chu Pengzhan's Difficulties. Wu Huru was still a deeply selfish woman. She believed that having Lin Yi, a relatively unknown doctor, treat her was a sign of respect for him. If he truly cured her, and publicity was shared among high society, wouldn't countless wealthy individuals seek him out? How much would he have asked for then? Now demanding 100 million was sheer extortion. When had the Liu family ever suffered such a loss? Even if he were a miracle doctor, a few million would have been the most he could have gotten. But he actually dared to ask for 100 million? Well, if you dare, you'll have to be able to keep it. Of course, if Liu Xianyi knew his wife was so short-sighted and selfish, he'd probably be furious. 100 million wasn't a small sum, but gaining the friendship of a miracle doctor was such a bargain. Would you ever get sick in your old age? Would you still beg Lin Yi for help then? What a foolish, money-spending woman. However, Liu Xianyi clearly didn't know this, so when Wu Chenshin went against Lin Yi, he was too late to stop him. Chu Pengzhan was furious today. Jin Gubang had actually proposed a board meeting to re-elect the chairman. Thinking of yesterday's clash between Jin Gubang and Zi Guangbo, Chu Pengzhan felt a chill in his heart. For the first time, he felt powerless, like he was no longer in control. Just before yesterday's board meeting, Chu Pengzhan was confident he could eliminate the company's corrupt officials, gradually weaken Jin Gubang's power, and eventually drive him out. But now, things had turned out beyond his expectations. The company's second and third largest shareholders had actually joined forces, holding more shares than his own. They were united in challenging him at the board meeting, and he would be unable to handle it. When had the company become like this? The company his father had founded, and now he was about to hand it over to someone else? Chu Pengzhan had never told his father about the company's affairs. Now that his father was retired and enjoying his retirement, he didn't want to disturb him with company matters. Moreover, Chu Pengzhan viewed the company's problems as a minor matter. As long as he held on to his shares, even if some shareholders showed signs of greed and selfishness, he believed he could still resolve the situation. However, the shareholders' alliance was something Chu Pengzhan hadn't anticipated. He was at his wit's end. Jin Gubang was determined to re-elect the chairman and had already teamed up with Zi Guangbo to contact the other board members. There was no chance of reconciliation. Perhaps in a few days, he would no longer be chairman. In desperation, Chu Pengzhan had no choice but to call his father. Although he didn't want to disturb him, the situation had reached such a critical juncture that he had to explain the company's situation to Old Man Chu. Old Man Chu listened quietly, not interrupting him. Instead, he waited for him to finish and remained silent for a moment. Dad, look, Chu Pengzhan said, feeling exhausted. If 1/3 of the directors had been bribed by Jin Gubang, he could convene a board meeting. Even as chairman, he couldn't prevent this. And since Jin Gubang was calling this board meeting, he was confident he could replace him as chairman. Actually, I've long seen problems with the company's board of directors. Old Master Chu's voice was calm. Pengzhan, you're too kind and good-hearted. While that's a strength, you have to understand that the business world is like a battlefield. Kindness to your enemies is cruelty to yourself. People are greedy and selfish, so it's understandable that some directors would gang up on you to seize power. So what do you mean? Chu Pengzhan was stunned. His father's words didn't seem to bother him anymore. Go find Lin Yi, Old Master Chu sighed softly. Perhaps he's the only one who can help you in this situation. Him? Chu Pengzhan was surprised. Dad, you didn't ask him to come, not Yao? Maybe he has a solution, who knows? Old Master Chu didn't say it directly, but only smiled implicitly. Dad, I understand. Chu Pengzhan hung up the phone. Although he didn't know why his father had asked him to find Lin Yi, Chu Pengzhan simply couldn't figure out what Lin Yi could do in this situation. Lin Yi wasn't a shareholder in the company, nor did he hold any shares. He couldn't intervene in the company's board meetings, but since it was the person the old man had specifically asked him to find, Chu Pengzhan could only give it a try. Chu Pengzhan hadn't expected that a powerful business tycoon like him would be schemed against by the son of his father's old friend. Had he really been too kind before? Perhaps his father was right. If he had cut the Gordian knot when he first noticed the signs, perhaps he wouldn't be in this situation today. While some shareholders might criticize him for not considering his father's feelings, it was still better than being at his wits' end today. After a moment's hesitation, Chu Pengzhan said to Li Fu, who was driving, let's go to Yao Iao's villa. Okay, Mr. Chu, Uncle Fu sighed. Mr. Chu, don't be so impatient. Since Mr. Chu said Lin Yi has a way, then there must be a way. I hope so. Chu Pengzhan nodded. Lin Yi parked his car in front of Chu Mengyao's villa when he saw a Bentley pull in from behind him. Upon closer inspection, he saw it was Uncle Fu's car. Lin Yi got out of the car but didn't enter the villa. After Uncle Fu's car parked, he saw Chu Pengzhan emerge from it. Zai, Chu Pengzhan hadn't expected Lin Yi to have just returned. He glanced at the van Lin Yi was driving and was a little surprised. Your car? Oh, I helped Songshan capture a wanted criminal, the Black Panther. Lin Yi didn't hide it. Black Panther's driving the car. He just registered the license plate with Songshan this afternoon. Chu Pengzhan nodded. He hadn't expected Lin Yi to quietly establish his own network in Songshan City. The fact that he was able to secure the car from Songshan clearly indicated a special relationship between them. Zai, Uncle Chu needs to discuss something with you. Chu Pengzhan didn't dwell on the car issue, but instead patted Lin Yi on the shoulder and said, oh? Okay, let's go inside and talk. Lin Yi locked the door of the van. Chu Pengzhan hesitated for a moment, then said, why don't you get in my car? Lin Yi was slightly stunned, then understood, nodded, and said, okay. Lin Yi guessed that perhaps Chu Pengzhan had something to say that he didn't want Chu Mengyao to hear, so he chose to say it to him in the car. Chapter 308, 5 updates. Please vote for recommendation on Monday. I won't be competing for monthly votes this month, so you can vote for other books this month. But I beg you to give me a few recommendations. Please recommend. I've returned to my 5-post update schedule, so please put School Beauty on the top of the urban category for weekly recommendations. Chapter 309 Leave it to me. Lin Yi followed Chu Pengzhan into his Bentley. Chu Pengzhan lit a cigarette and handed it to Lin Yi. Lin Yi waved his hand and said, I'm not addicted to it. I don't like smoking. Chu Pengzhan didn't care and handed it to Uncle Fu. Xiao Yi, Uncle Chu is in some trouble. Chu Pengzhan didn't know why his grandfather asked him to go find Lin Yi. He really couldn't understand why Lin Yi, besides protecting Chu Mengyao from harm, could also take care of his own company's affairs. Lin Yi probably didn't have any similar experience, right? It's something about the company, right? Lin Yi guessed it before Chu Pengzhan finished speaking. The thing that could bother Chu Pengzhan at the moment was probably the company's affairs. Yes, it's a company matter. Chu Pengzhan nodded, not hiding anything. Since he wanted Lin Yi's help, Chu Pengzhan naturally wouldn't hide it. The second and third largest shareholders in the company have joined forces. After these two people joined forces, the directors who are on good terms with them will all fall on their side. Now, they are preparing to hold a board meeting to re-elect the chairman. Lin Yi heard this and waved his hand. Uncle Chu, you don't have to explain it in so much detail. I don't understand the company's operations. I just want to clarify one thing right now. Will these two people's joining forces definitely threaten your position in the company? Yes, they have been running the company for many years and have a certain network of contacts. Several directors on the board have good relationships with them. If they join forces, I will definitely lose, Chu Pengzhan said frankly. Lin Yi nodded, frowning slightly in thought. Chu Pengzhan did not interrupt him. After all, Lin Yi had never been involved in such company matters, and he needed some time to digest them. But what was unexpected was that Lin Yi suddenly asked a somewhat strange question. What was the relationship between the second and third largest shareholders you mentioned before? Before, Chu Pengzhan was stunned, and then a little angry. Before, at least in my opinion, their relationship was not good. You also know that the company's three major shareholders, including me, each have a certain say in the board of directors. There is no situation where one person pleases whom, so at least in my opinion, the relationship between the two of them is very tense. But I don't know why, at the board meeting on Sunday, the two of them actually joined together. This is what caught me off guard the most. It turns out that the two of them have colluded with each other for a long time. Lin Yi smiled. Uncle Chu is confused by the situation. Confused by the situation, Chu Pengzhan was stunned. Perhaps they didn't collude all along, but rather just temporarily. Lin Yi shrugged and continued, of course, this is just my guess. There's always a reason for this. I think there must be some hidden secret. Chu Pengzhan nodded. Yi, your guess is correct. But when they colluded isn't important anymore. What's important is how should I deal with their combined forces. Oh, why should we deal with them? Lin Yi smiled. Uncle Chu, haven't you ever thought about dividing them, causing them to fight among themselves, or even inciting rebellion? Although Lin Yi had never run a company, his most common tactic when facing enemies in the past was to divide and destroy them, or to directly provoke them to fight each other. Of course, inciting rebellion is also a good strategy. Oh, Chu Pengzhan was stunned. All he had thought about before was how to deal with the alliance between Jin Gubang and Zi Guangbo, but he had never considered dividing them, inciting rebellion, or causing them to fight among themselves. Tell me about the situation of these two shareholders. Who is the leader? Lin Yi asked. The two major shareholders of the company are Jin Gubang and Zi Guangbo. Jin Gubang is the person I have always wanted to deal with. The previous attacks on Yao were caused by this guy. At the board meeting on Sunday, I actually wanted to use the incident at the amusement park to make trouble for Jin Gubang. Who knew that Zi Guangbo would suddenly jump out? Chu Pengzhan told Lin Yi about the situation at that time. Old Zi is a man who is usually silent and doesn't fight for power. Who knew that he would get involved with Jin Gubang this time? After listening to Chu Pengzhan's introduction, Lin Yi also had a certain understanding of the company's two major shareholders. This Jin Gubang is the leader this time. It is basically impossible to instigate him to rebel. The Zi Guangbo that Chu Pengzhan mentioned is the key to solving the problem. As Chu Pengzhan said, this person's performance on weekdays and on Sundays is completely different, so it is just as the saying goes, there must be a demon when things are unpredictable, so Lin Yi decided to start with this person. Okay, in that case, Uncle Chu, please leave this matter to me. I'll handle it. Lin Yi nodded and asked, where does Zi Guangbo live? Zi Guangbo, Yi, you're not going to do anything like murder and robbery, are you? Chu Pengzhan was stunned and looked at Lin Yi with some concern. Don't worry, I won't kill Zi Guangbo. Lin Yi gave Chu Pengzhan a reassuring smile. Although killing him is a permanent solution, but according to what you said before, it's better to kill Jin Gubang directly than to kill Zi Guangbo. Since I have set my sights on Zi Guangbo, I won't resort to such means. Of course, Lin Yi had thought about killing Jin Gubang directly, but he didn't want to cause unnecessary trouble for Chu Pengzhan. After all, Jin Gubang was dead. After all, he was the second largest shareholder of Pengzhan Group. The death of a small fish and shrimp was nothing, but the death of a shareholder would definitely attract attention from others. Lin Yi still wanted to live a peaceful life in Songshan City, so he didn't want to cause trouble for the time being. That's good, Chu Pengzhan nodded. Zi Guangbo's home is in Qianhua waterfront community, in District F of private villas. The 6th independent villa is his home. I see, leave it to me, Lin Yi said. I'll go talk to him now. You be careful. Chu Pengzhan didn't know if it was right for him to find Lin Yi, but since the old man in the family said so, Chu Pengzhan had to give it a try. Zi Guangbo is not an ordinary person either. He also has a bodyguard, who is a master, also? Lin Yi narrowed his eyes slightly and looked at Uncle Fu involuntarily. Lin Yi mentioned a yellow-level master once before, and Uncle Fu's expression was a little different at that time. Could it be that his suspicion was correct, and Uncle Fu was also a master among masters? However, he did not feel any energy from him, that is, the fluctuation of true qi. Could it be that Uncle Fu was an external master? Chapter 310 How did you get in? Thinking of this, Lin Yi felt it was quite possible. If Uncle Fu was indeed Chu Pengzhan's bodyguard, he must be an external martial arts expert, just like Wu Chenshin. Although he was also a cultivator, because he practiced external martial arts, his body lacked Zenki, and he simply cultivated his body. Therefore, he could not sense this Henki in his body, nor could he know his level. Therefore, in Lin Yi's eyes, Uncle Fu seemed somewhat unfathomable. To have been able to accompany Chu Pengzhan for so many years, he was definitely not comparable to a young man like Wu Chenshin who had just debuted. Just how powerful was Uncle Fu? Before he came, he not only protected Chu Pengzhan's safety, but also had to take care of Chu Mengyao and Shen Yashu during the school day and night. His skills must be quite strong. Lin Yi did not know whether anyone had harmed Chu Mengyao before, but the fact that Chu Mengyao and Shen Yashu survived until now without any harm showed that Uncle Fu was very powerful. Uncle Fu seemed to sense Lin Yi's gaze on his back. After a moment of silence, he spoke, "You guessed right. I am Mr. Chu's bodyguard. And Director Z also has an expert by his side, whose skills are not inferior to mine. However, I am currently practicing external martial arts, and he is an internal martial arts expert, now?" Lin Yi was even more interested in the hidden meaning in Uncle Fu's words. What did this now mean? He had practiced internal martial arts before? But how could he not feel anything at all? I'll be careful. Lin Yi didn't care much. An expert? He was still an expert after all. After saying this, Lin Yi got out of the car and prepared to drive his shabby van directly to find Zi Guangbo. Now that he knew the problem, Lin Yi had no reason to wait any longer. Wait, Zai, your car won't be found anywhere, right? Chu Pengzhan asked, glancing at Lin Yi's shabby van and the license plate. Hey, Uncle Chu, what do you think I'm going to do? Lin Yi unlocked the car door with his key and prepared to get in. I'm going to talk to Zi Guangbo face to face. I'm not afraid he'll recognize me, is that so? Chu Pengzhan nodded, then said, how about you drive Yao Yao's car? That neighborhood is full of wealthy people. You might get stopped at the gate with his car. Alright, then I'll drive Zai Oshu's beetle. I happen to have the keys, so I don't have to bother Yao Yao. Lin Yi nodded, locked his old van, and went to the garage at the villa to pick up the car. Qianhua waterfront community is one of the most luxurious communities in Songshan City. It's known as a symbol of the rich and powerful in Songshan. Every unit here is a duplex, and some even have independent villas. The starting price for each unit is generally 10 million, and a villa can sell for over 30 million. Those who can live here must be either wealthy or noble. Qianhua waterfront is known as the wealthy area of Songshan City. While not all wealthy people live here, those who do are definitely wealthy. Chu Pengzhan didn't buy a house here because his current residence is even more luxurious. As the third largest shareholder of Pengzhan Group, a Fortune 500 company, it's no surprise that Zi Guangbo owns a villa here. Furthermore, the Qianhua waterfront development was developed by Pengzhan Group. Qianhua waterfront's management is indeed very strict. Outside vehicles are blocked at the entrance to the complex. Only cars of sufficient quality or with a community pass are allowed in. Only after verification of the resident status is confirmed are they allowed in. While Lin Yi's beetle isn't particularly expensive, those who can afford it are generally not their family's first car. So, the security guards readily let Lin Yi's beetle through. Without asking around, Lin Yi drove around the complex and found District F. District F was actually quite easy to find, with rows of detached villas visible at a glance. Lin Yi parked the car in front of villa number 6 and swaggered out. However, he didn't ring the doorbell. Instead, he stepped on the electrical transformer box next to the villa and leaped onto the second-floor balcony. Although Zi Guangbo lived in a luxurious villa, he wasn't one for luxury. He lived there solely because of his shareholder status. Sometimes, losing face was unacceptable. Living too shabby would make business partners wary of one's ability. Having lost his wife in middle age, Zi Guangbo never remarried. He had no material desires and wasn't particularly interested in women, so after his wife's death, he didn't bring any of the other women back to live with him. Zi Guangbo's greatest wish was for his son to inherit his business and make a name for himself. However, he didn't expect that his son, who had originally intended to study abroad, would develop a skill in return to help him, would become addicted to gambling and drugs. Gambling wasn't a big deal, a little gambling was enjoyable, and Zi Guangbo would occasionally play with old friends. But drug addiction is a bottomless pit, it can suck up any family fortune. This time, his son actually owed 100 million to a foreign mafia. Although Zi Guangbo was furious, he couldn't just ignore his son. As soon as Zi Guangbo finished talking to his son, seeing his son's bruised and battered appearance, he felt a pang of heartache, and he wanted to rush to his son's side and rescue him. Zi Guangbo, a voice rang out in front of Zi Guangbo. Zi Guangbo was startled and instinctively looked up, only to be met with a startling sight. "Who are you?" Zi Guangbo stared at Lin Yi in disbelief, as if he had seen a ghost. After talking to his son online, he was stunned for a moment when he saw someone else in the room. Zi Guangbo was surprised not because Lin Yi had appeared in his room so quietly, but by how he had gotten in. While talking to his son, Zi Guangbo had locked the door from the inside to prevent the nanny and bodyguards from hearing him. He had the key to the room in his hand, so how did this person get in? The key is, how did he get in? There are nannies and bodyguards downstairs. If Lin Yi came in, it would be impossible not to alarm them. If it was a normal visit, the nanny should come up to inform him, and if it was an abnormal intrusion, the bodyguard should stop him. But this person just came in and stood in front of him, but he didn't notice it at all. He is not a good person. This was Zi Guangbo's first reaction. He was also a man who had seen the world, and he immediately regained his composure. How did you get in? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 311 Bodyguard appears. Lin Yi casually pointed to the open window and did not answer Zi Guangbo's words. Instead, he said, "Let me ask you something. Why did you support Jingabang on the board of directors?" Zi Guangbo was stunned for a moment, and then he understood Lin Yi's background. His expression became stern and he said, "Were you sent by Chu Pengzhan? Humph, you can go now. Go back and tell him that this matter is non-negotiable. Have you eaten too many brain-dead movies? Can he send me? I volunteer to help this time." Lin Yi curled his lips. This guy still thinks he is a small fry? He even asked him to pass on a message? Is he stupid? Although Chu Pengzhan treats him well, Lin Yi came to Songshan City entirely because of the old man and his family. Apart from Old Man Lin and the Killer Master, no one else can send Lin Yi to do anything. Then what do you do? Zi Guangbo was a little surprised after hearing what Lin Yi said. It seems that this man is really not Chu Pengzhan's subordinate. So what does he do? Lin Yi frowned impatiently. I'm Chu Mengyao's bodyguard. Huh? Zi Guangbo was stunned. Chu Mengyao's bodyguard came looking for him? Isn't that meddling? You're Chu Mengyao's bodyguard. If you're not protecting her, what are you doing here? I told you you're crazy, and you don't believe me. Lin Yi glared at him like he was stupid. Chu Pengzhan is Chu Mengyao father. He's going to lose his job. Who's going to pay me? Lin Yi said this simply to distance himself from Chu Pengzhan. If the truth ever came to light, Chu Pengzhan could completely deny any responsibility. News of him intimidating shareholders would be detrimental to his reputation. Zi Guangbo was speechless. Who was the crazy one, you or me? A bodyguard, interfering in company affairs? But then Zi Guangbo suddenly realized something and said, "Are you here to ask for money? Tell me, how much?" It was no wonder Zi Guangbo mistook Lin Yi for someone who was asking for money. His position was completely unrelated to the matters he was supposed to be involved in. Why are you talking so much nonsense? Do you want to die? Lin Yi kicked the safe next to him, sending the hundreds-pound iron safe flying. With a thud, it landed in front of Zi Guangbo, just a centimeter away from his toes. Zi Guangbo was completely caught off guard, and cold sweat instantly streamed down his forehead. Is this still human? Is he really a bodyguard? How can he be so awesome? He can kick a hundreds-pound safe with one kick? Looking at the safe again, Zi Guangbo was so frightened that a chill ran down his spine. There was actually a big hole on the side of the safe. It was kicked in by Lin Yi. This kind of vault safe is made of thick iron plates on all sides. How can you kick a hole in it? It would be difficult for a thief to cut it open with a chainsaw, let alone kick it. Of course, these are not the main issues. The main issue is that if the safe flew higher and farther, he would probably be dead. I hope you stay away from Jingubang. Do you understand? Lin Yi was too lazy to ask this guy why he went to help Jingubang. As long as this guy was afraid of death, he should stay away from Jingubang as soon as possible. Zi Guangbo's face was pale, but he didn't say anything. He couldn't answer Lin Yi. If he stayed away from Jingubang, what would happen to his son? So although Zi Guangbo was afraid, he couldn't bow his head. Tell me, how much money do you want to let me go? Money? Are you rich? Lin Yi walked over with disdain, and Zi Guangbo subconsciously shrank back. But Lin Yi didn't do anything to Zi Guangbo. Instead, he walked to the safe that was dented by the kick, stretched out his hand, and pulled hard. The door of the safe was pulled down by Lin Yi. Is there any money in the safe? Lin Yi casually flipped through the things in the safe and found a passbook. He opened it, but Lin Yi was very disappointed. The amount on the passbook was a lot, as much as 40 million, but it had all been withdrawn a few days ago. There are only a few dollars in your passbook, you can still give me money. Zi Guangbo then remembered that he had transferred all his savings to his son abroad a few days ago. How could he have money to give to Lin Yi in front of him? Tisk, it seems that you are in urgent need of money? Is this the reason why you agreed to Jingubang? Lin Yi threw the passbook aside and continued to look through the things in the safe. When he took out a stack of documents, he smiled. Shares of Pengzhan Group. Okay, you can transfer them to me now. No, Zi Guangbo suddenly sat up straight, with a resolute look on his face. This is absolutely impossible. Huh? Is that so? Lin Yi threw the shares aside. Do you want your life or the shares? However, at this moment, the door was kicked open and a man rushed in. As soon as the man rushed in, he shouted, Mr. Z, are you okay? But as soon as he finished asking this, he saw Lin Yi, and the man suddenly became nervous. He heard a loud noise coming from Zi Guangbo's room, and felt something was wrong, so he rushed up quickly. When he saw Lin Yi, he immediately felt like he was facing a great enemy. The man, probably in his 30s, was unassuming, the kind easily overlooked in a crowd. He was the perfect bodyguard. Seeing him enter, Zi Guangbo breathed a sigh of relief, a look of relief on his face. He knew the bodyguard's abilities well. While Lin Yi was formidable, he was no match for this man. Wang, kill him, Zi Guangbo commanded the incoming man. He wouldn't let someone who threatened his life remain in this world. He would have bodyguards to protect him this time, but they couldn't be with him 24/7. Especially since Lin Yi could sneak into his room without a trace, and if he did it the first time, there would be a second. Zi Guangbo was terrified of his elusiveness. If Lin Yi attacked without alerting him next time, he'd be doomed. Who are you? As he shouted, he leaped up and launched a punch at Lin Yi. How? Lin Yi smiled faintly, casually raising his fist and standing still, as if welcoming the newcomer. The man was stunned. He hadn't expected Lin Yi to take his punch head-on. This was incredible to the man, and he increased the force in his fist, ready to kill Lin Yi with one punch. He had broken into a private house and threatened the owner. Even if he killed him on the spot, he would not bear any responsibility. With Zi Guangbo's order, the man named Wang prepared to beat Lin Yi to death. Chapter 312, Money Over Life. Bang! With a resounding thud, Lin Yi stood still, motionless, while Wang flew backwards in a straight line. With another thud, he crashed into the wall of the hallway outside the room, denting it. A decorative picture frame clattered down and struck Wang on the head. Wang was unconscious now, a trickle of black blood oozing from the corner of his mouth. He lay motionless. Lin Yi hadn't used his full strength. An early yellow rank expert wasn't worth the effort. He simply deflected Wang's blow, effectively hitting himself. This punch wasn't enough to kill Wang, but it would keep him bedridden for a while. Lin Yi had come to negotiate with Zi Guangbo and had no intention of killing him. As for his bodyguard, Lin Yi wouldn't kill him either. Who the hell are you? Zi Guangbo was surprised to see his bodyguard vanquished before Lin Yi could even complete a single move. Of course, he had no idea Wang was still alive. In his opinion, Wang had been silent since he flew out. If not dead, what was he? I've already said it, I'm Chu Mengyao's bodyguard, or rather, not a bodyguard. Anyway, I don't know what I'm going to do, Lin Yi shrugged. But now, can you sign the equity transfer agreement with me? I don't want to kill anyone, so don't force me. Zi Guangbo felt a little depressed. Wang was his only hope. He knew Wang's strength well. He was a legendary yellow rank master. If Wang hadn't owed him a favor, a master of that caliber wouldn't have come to his defense. However, the fact that a master of that caliber had been beaten to death by Lin Yi shocked Zi Guangbo and utterly terrified him. The equity can't be transferred to you. Zi Guangbo shook his head. Absolutely not. So, you want to die? Lin Yi was a little annoyed. Someone like that who valued money over life? He'd never seen such a person like that before. This guy was clearly terrified, but when it came to the shares, he refused to budge. I don't want to. Zi Guangbo shook his head, but a resolute look flashed in his eyes. I can't give you the shares, even if I die. Lin Yi really didn't know what to say, and he wanted to slap the guy in front of him to death. Lin Yi picked up the door of the safe on the ground, wanting to shock Zi Guangbo again. He was going to bend the door to scare him, but Zi Guangbo obviously misunderstood, thinking that Lin Yi had lost his patience and was ready to kill him. He suddenly said, wait. I can give you the shares if you don't kill me, but you have to wait a few days. Wait a few days. Lin Yi was stunned. At least wait until Jin Gubang becomes the chairman of the group. After that, I can give you all the shares, Zi Guangbo said. Even if I go to jail, it doesn't matter. You can kill me and give you the shares, but absolutely not now. Huh? Zi Guangbo's words left Lin Yi a little confused. Give him shares, and have to wait until Jin Gubang becomes chairman? Even if he killed him afterwards? Is there anything so unbelievable? Is this Jin Gubang his father or his grandfather? Is it worth it for him to do this? What benefits did Jin Gubang give you? Lin Yi frowned. My son is studying abroad, but he got addicted to gambling and drugs. He owed nearly 100 million in high-interest loans to local gangs. My son has been controlled by them. If I don't give them money, they will kill my son. Zi Guangbo knew that if he didn't explain it clearly to Lin Yi, Lin Yi would probably not give up, and might even kill him in a rage. Oh? You mean, Jin Gubang paid for your son's debt? Lin Yi frowned. So this guy was doing this for this reason? Thinking of this, he couldn't help but smile bitterly. It was truly pitiful how pitiful the heart of a parent could be. To save his son, Zi Guangbo would rather die than transfer his shares to him. But to save his son, he would give up both his shares and his life? No, he doesn't have that much liquid cash, and neither do I. Zi Guangbo smiled bitterly. My son's loan sharking debt is in US dollars. Transferring the 40 million in my savings account is just a drop in the bucket. But Jin Gubang has already promised me that after he becomes chairman, he'll allow me to embezzle company funds. Damn it, Lin Yi felt like cursing after hearing this. Jin Gubang was such a jerk. He even agreed to such an offer? It seemed he'd stop at nothing to secure the chairmanship, even at the expense of the company's interests. Where's your son? I'll bring him back, and you transfer your shares to me. Lin Yi's next words weren't interrogative at all, but rather commanding, unquestionable. This, Zi Guangbo was stunned. What? You don't believe in my ability? Lin Yi narrowed his eyes, staring at Zi Guangbo. No, of course not. Zi Guangbo quickly shook his head. What a joke. How could he dare to doubt Lin Yi's strength now? Wang had been beaten to a pulp by him. Such formidable strength was rare in the world. However, no matter how strong his personal strength was, he was facing a foreign gang. Could he bring his son back? Do you really think that if you give money to the gangster, your son will come back safely? Lin Yi looked at Zi Guangbo sarcastically. You don't have to think about it yourself. With such a cash cow, can they let him return to China? Drug addiction and gambling addiction are the most difficult to quit. As long as the person is still there, you just have to wait for the next time to prepare money. This, Zi Guangbo did not deny it, because in his heart, he had already agreed with Lin Yi's words. It was not the first time that his son asked for money, but the reasons before were various, but the amount of money asked for was not as much as this time, such as offending local powerful people, buying a car, and his girlfriend ran away with someone. Although Zi Guangbo asked his son to return to China as soon as possible after giving the money, his son seemed not to listen at all. Now think about it, I'm afraid what Lin Yi said is true. This time and again, his son asked for money to pay off gambling debts and usury. I'll give you 1 second to think about it. Do you want to die now or bring your son back and give me the shares? Lin Yi looked at Zi Guangbo and slowly raised the door of the safe in his hand. Okay, 1 second is up. Wait a minute. Zi Guangbo shuddered and quickly waved his hands. I promise you. Zi Guangbo had no doubt that Lin Yi would hide him with a stick and kill him directly, because wasn't there already a precedent like Wang? Chapter 313 Yao complains. Chapter 0312 Yao complains. Lin Yi looked at Zi Guangbo, nodded with satisfaction, casually dropped the safe door in his hand, and then said, let's put the matter of Jingabang aside for now. I will get your son back within a week. Don't play any tricks, otherwise you and your son. Lin Yi didn't say anything else, but it was obvious that Zi Guangbo would understand what he said. Don't worry, as long as my son is fine, I will cooperate with you in any case. Zi Guangbo also figured it out. If Lin Yi really brought his son back, it would be perfect. Although he had no shares and no money in his hands, he could let his son live a hard life like an ordinary person. Without money for drugs and gambling, his son might get on the right path. I hope you can do what you say. Lin Yi looked at Zi Guangbo deeply, and found that his eyes were very clear. Then he said, I will also let you get what you want. Give me your son's information and send it to my mobile phone mailbox. My mobile phone number is 152XXXX1234. I'll send it to you in a while. Please ask Wang. Zi Guangbo asked carefully. He won't die. A master like him, who is at the early stage of the yellow rank, can recover in half a month by lying at home. Lin Yi waved his hand casually. Zi Guangbo was shocked. Lin Yi could actually see Wang's strength so easily? What kind of strength was he? However, the stronger Lin Yi became, the happier Zi Guangbo was, because only then would Lin Yi have the chance to rescue his son from the clutches of the gang. This time, Lin Yi didn't jump out of the window. Instead, he swaggered out of the main entrance, drove a beetle, and disappeared from Zi Guangbo's sight. Beetle? Zi Guangbo was slightly stunned. He glanced at the license plate and remembered that the car belonged to Chen Yashu, Chu Mengyao's good friend. Surely someone close to Chu Mengyao? However, Zi Guangbo couldn't believe that such a master could be Chu Mengyao's bodyguard. How could it be possible? Uncle Fu, who was by Chu Pengzhan's side, didn't have such amazing skills, right? Zi Guangbo shook his head and stopped guessing Lin Yi's identity. It didn't make sense to guess or not. He just had to do what Lin Yi said. He called Wang Ma, the nanny in the servant's room, and asked her to come up and send Wang back to the room. Since Lin Yi said that Wang was fine, then he should be fine. When he entered the room, Wang had woken up. He opened his eyes with difficulty and looked at Zi Guangbo. Mr. Z, I'm sorry I couldn't protect you. Don't say it. The other party is very powerful. Are you okay? Do you need to go to the hospital? Zi Guangbo waved his hand. He was not as strong as the other party, so he couldn't blame Wang. Wang had tried his best. No, I just need to rest. Wang shook his head. He's at least at the late yellow stage. Mr. Z, are you not injured? No. Zi Guangbo gave a wry smile. The late yellow stage was 2 levels higher than Wang. Wang was no match for a master of this level. Lin Yi drove back to the villa area, only to find that Chu Pengzhan's car hadn't left yet. However, Chu Pengzhan was no longer in the car. Only Uncle Fu sat quietly in the driver's seat. Where's Uncle Chu? Lin Yi asked after parking the car. Inside the villa. Mr. Chu told you to go straight in and find him when you come back. Uncle Fu nodded to Lin Yi. Entering the villa, Lin Yi saw Chu Pengzhan sitting on the sofa, talking to Chu Mengyao. Chen Yashu was also sitting nearby, watching TV. Chu Mengyao was a little unhappy when she saw Lin Yi coming back so late. Daddy, look at Lin Yi, he always comes back so late. He is the 24-hour follower you hired with your money. How can he have such no work discipline? Chu Mengyao said, looking at Lin Yi proudly, thinking, let's see if you dare to go out and mess around again. This time, my daddy is here too. You must have been caught red-handed, right? Let's see how you are going to explain it. However, to Chu Mengyao's surprise, before Lin Yi could explain, she heard Chu Pengzhan say seriously, Yao, Xiaoyi went to do something for me, don't say anything nonsense. Besides, Lin Yi takes care of your study and life during the day, and is just with you at night out of obligation. What work discipline? Can't he have his own things? Daddy Chu Mengyao didn't expect that Lin Yi was not scolded, but she was scolded instead. She immediately had a sad face and glared at Lin Yi unhappily. How could this guy be so protected by his daddy? If she hadn't known that her mother only had her own child and that her father wasn't the type to be so philandering, she would have truly believed Lin Yi was his illegitimate child. Okay, Zai, come with me for a moment. Okay, let's go to your room. Chu Pengzhan ignored his daughter. Company affairs were already overwhelming him, and to avoid worrying his daughter, he had just forced a smile and talked to her about her studies and life. Now that Lin Yi was back, Chu Pengzhan was eager to know the outcome. Okay, Uncle Chu, Lin Yi nodded, and they went into his room together. As soon as the door closed, Chu Pengzhan was eager to ask, how's it going? What did Zi Guangbo say? He won't be involved with Jin Gubang anymore for the next few days, but I need to go abroad to resolve this matter completely, Lin Yi said. Go abroad? What's going on? Chu Pengzhan was immediately delighted to hear that Zi Guangbo would no longer support Jin Gubang. As long as Zi Guangbo didn't interfere, Jin Gubang wouldn't be able to stir up any trouble on his own. Zi Guangbo's son owes $100 million to loan sharks abroad, Lin Yi explained simply. The reason why Zi Guangbo supported Jin Gubang as the new chairman is because Jin Gubang promised him that after taking office, he would be allowed to embezzle the company's funds to pay off his son's debts. So that's the reason. Chu Pengzhan suddenly realized. Then you go abroad, bring his son back in exchange, Lin Yi said casually. But Uncle Chu, don't worry, it's only a dozen hours journey, and it will only take 2 days to go and back, 2 days to bring him back. Chu Pengzhan was stunned, but then he thought of Lin Yi's speed and superb skills, and nodded. Then thank you for your help, be careful however. Uncle Fu will have to worry about me for a few days while I'm gone. I'm afraid that Zi Guangbo's sudden betrayal will make Jin Gubang desperate. I can't guarantee that this guy will do something extreme, Lin Yi said. If I wasn't afraid of causing trouble for you, I would just make him disappear, that's no problem. I'll let Li Fu stay with Yao for the 2 days you're away, Chu Pengzhan nodded, but you must be careful about your personal safety. If things can't be done, don't force yourself to take the lead. At worst, I'll give the company to Jin Gubang and start all over again, Chen Yushu said. Yuren is a good classmate. He works very hard. He updated his blog 5 times today. He's a hard-working fish. Everyone, go and vote for him a few recommendation votes and give him some rewards. He will be very happy. Chapter 314. This is a small matter. Chu Pengzhan's words warmed Lin Yi's heart. It seemed Chu Pengzhan didn't simply view him as a hired hand, but rather showed concern for his junior. Oh, Uncle Chu, it's actually quite trivial. Lin Yi felt very happy now. Someone cared about him every day. Well, was this the life of an ordinary person? Trivial? Is that still trivial? You're dealing with foreign gangs, Chu Pengzhan said sternly. They're different from those small-time thugs back home. They're desperate, armed with guns and ammunition. If anything goes wrong, how can I explain it to old man Lin? Even my father won't let me off. Lin Yi had no idea how old man Lin communicated with Chu Pengzhan. He looked as if he had no idea what he had done. Not to mention a gang leader, even generals from small countries with private armies and mercenary leaders were often sent packing by Lin Yi. Uncle Chu, if you knew my old man, you'd know that what I'm about to do is actually quite trivial, Lin Yi explained with a wry smile. Okay, I believe you, Chu Pengzhan nodded after hearing what Lin Yi said. As for the plane tickets, just call Uncle Fu and ask him to help you with it. I have to go back first. Since Zi Guangbo will no longer side with Jin Gubang, I have to rethink how to deal with Jin Gubang. Okay, Uncle Chu, take care. Lin Yi stood up and saw Chu Pengzhan to the door. Chu Pengzhan waved, said a few words to Chu Mengyao, said hello, and left the villa. It was getting late. Chu Mengyao and Chen Yushu locked the villa door, turned off the TV, and yawned as they went upstairs to prepare for bed. Lin Yi sat at his computer and logged into his mobile phone inbox. As expected, Zi Guangbo had already compiled all of his son's information and sent it to Lin Yi. Zi Guangbo's son was Zi Jinbao, a 19-year-old international student. However, he had been taken to a remote town called Blue Town. It was a small border town in a small country. Due to its geographical location, public security was extremely poor, and the entire town was practically controlled by local gangs. Zi Jinbao was captured there. Precisely because the town was completely controlled by gangs, the Xuanyuan gang seemed completely unafraid to reveal their location and where Zi Jinbao was being held to Zi Guangbo. They felt that Zi Guangbo's influence could not possibly reach this area, and even other nearby gangs would at least give the Shulin gang some respect and not easily cross their borders. Of course, even if Zi Guangbo really came here looking for someone, the Shulin gang's leader did not believe Zi Guangbo had the ability to do so. Once in the Blue Town, life and death would be decided by the Shulin gang. The Water Blue Gang's headquarters is located within the Blue Castle in Blue Town. This castle has a long history. It once belonged to the town's owners, a once powerful family. However, that was a thing of the past. Decades ago, the family, having offended a powerful entity, was completely exterminated. That family was a powerful one, holding complete control of Blue Town's commerce and politics. After their demise, the area fell into chaos. Years later, Blue Town was taken over by the Water Blue Gang, and order gradually returned. However, a small gang could never rival the power of the once mighty family, and Blue Town's economy plummeted. The Water Blue Gang was forced to resort to drugs and gambling to attract tourists. Lin Yi's face lit up with a quirky smile as he saw the information Zi Guangbo had given him. Blue Town? Blue Castle? The name sounded familiar. His assassin master had said he once wiped out a ragtag family, though Lin Yi couldn't quite recall whether they lived in the Blue Castle. Lin Yi called Uncle Fu and asked him to book a flight for tomorrow night. The round trip shouldn't take more than 2 days, which shouldn't affect his trip to Kang Xiaobo's birthday party that weekend. The next morning, Lin Yi received a call from Guanzuman. The Liu family had already gathered the money for the medical treatment, 100 million yuan, ready to be transferred at any time. Lin Yi was amazed at how efficient the Liu family was. Money so early in the morning? Little did he know that old man Liu Zhen, who was the pillar of the Liu family. No matter how much money was spent, he had to be protected first. Grandpa Guan, I understand. I'll be there in a minute, Lin Yi said. Let them wait. Guanzuman smiled and agreed. He hung up the phone and told Liu Xianyi what Lin Yi meant. However, Liu Xianyi wasn't angry at all. If such a great person could do this, what was the big deal about waiting a little longer? If Lin Yi had rushed over eagerly after hearing the money was ready, Liu Xianyi would have suspected him of being a con man. But now, Lin Yi's nonchalant attitude struck Liu Xianyi as normal. 100 million, any other young man would have been overwhelmed, considering how huge a sum it was. But Lin Yi's immediate demand for 100 million seemed like a complete nonchalance, and Liu Xianyi felt even more certain that Lin Yi was confident he could cure his father's illness, daring to offer such a high price. While Liu Xianyi instructed Wu Huru to prepare to wake the old man, he also contacted his staff to quickly prepare the remittance. If Lin Yi arrived and the money wasn't ready, and he stormed off in anger, that would be a disaster. Lin Yi put down his phone, then got up and went to the kitchen to make something to eat. Anyway, Lin Yi also had to eat breakfast every day, so he would bring a portion for Chu Mengyao and Chen Yashu on the way. In fact, if you think about it, these two girls are also quite pitiful. Their parents are busy working outside, and there is no one to take care of them. They are in the 3rd year of high school, and they study until late every day and are seriously sleep-deprived. How can this be the life of a young lady? The two are indeed smart, but on the single plank bridge of the college entrance examination, there are many smart people, and in the end it still depends on who has reviewed and prepared enough. It is not just about being smart that can get good grades. This is also what Lin Yi admires very much. Even if the two do not take the college entrance examination, Chu Pengzhan's strength can find them a good university, but the two of them rely on their own efforts to get a good grade in the exam, which is fundamentally different from Zhong Pinliang, a guy who just eats and waits to die. Therefore, Lin Yi does more work and does not mind taking care of the breakfast of these two girls. Chapter 315 Depressed Zhong Pinliang. Lin Yi drove his own shabby van to school, following Uncle Fu's Bentley from a distance. In fact, with Uncle Fu's skills, he could handle any emergency. On the way to school, few people attacked the bulletproof Bentley. When he was almost at school, Lin Yi saw Tang Yun, Kang Xiaobo, and Liu Xinwen getting off the bus together. He didn't expect that these three people would meet each other in the morning. Lin Yi had heard that the car Kang Xiaobo and Tang Yun were riding in was going the same way, but although Kang Xiaobo knew Tang Yun before, Tang Yun didn't know Kang Xiaobo. Now, Kang Xiaobo can legitimately stand with Tang Yun, his sister-in-law. Ding Lin Yi honked the horn twice. Kang Xiaobo frowned, turned around, saw a shabby van, and immediately got angry. Why are you honking the horn in an old shabby van? Besides, the road is wide and there is nothing blocking you. However, Tang Yun took one look at the battered van and felt it looked familiar. Then, glancing at the person in the driver's seat, a smile crossed her face. That charming glance back at him made Lin Yi lose his composure and nearly run over. Fortunately, his quick reaction would have prevented a tragedy. Huh? Boss, Kang Xiaobo realized it was Lin Yi driving. He immediately ran over, backpack slung over, opened the passenger door, and jumped in. He then called out to Tang Yun and Liu Xinwen in the front, "You two should get in too." Tang Yun hesitated. They were almost at school, so why would they need a ride? Wouldn't it be enough to just walk? Okay, Liu Xinwen replied, pulling Tang Yun in with her. Boss, is this your car? Kang Xiaobo was speechless as he looked at the battered van. This was completely different from the bus Lin he had imagined. Oh, you guessed right. This car is mine. Lin Yi handed the car's registration to Kang Xiaobo. It was just transferred yesterday. Kang Xiaobo glanced at the registration and saw that it was indeed registered to Lin Yi. He was speechless. This car really was Lin Yi's. Then, was the Beetle really borrowed? Boss, you said you were going to drop the license plate yesterday. Is this the car you were talking about? Kang Xiaobo asked, handing the registration back to Lin Yi. Yes, I'm actually very poor, but I have a wealthy relative. I'm lucky to be able to drive this car, Lin Yi said with a smile. Lin Yi's words touched Kang Xiaobo and Liu Xinwen. It seemed that Lin Yi wasn't the legendary young master, however, he was quite commendable for giving all his money to Xiaofen to pay for her medical expenses. Tang Yun had long noticed Lin Yi's uniqueness and was curious about him. She said he was a young master, but he didn't quite look like one. However, sometimes, Lin Yi was even more arrogant than those young masters. As for this car, Tang Yun was somewhat familiar with it. It seemed that it was snatched from Black Panther that night and taken by Lin Yi for himself. Although Tang Yun did not approve of this behavior that was almost like robbery, Black Panther was really too much. Being punished by Lin Yi with a car was already a very light punishment. Of course, Tang Yun did not know that Black Panther was still lying in the intensive care unit of the hospital. His bones were broken all over his body. It would take at least half a year for him to recover. Lin Yi parked the car at the snack street behind the school, and then the four of them entered the school together. The students in the school were already accustomed to these four people who were often together. Even the Dean of Academic Affairs, Wang Zifan, nodded to them with an unaccustomed look. Dean Wang, Lin Yi suddenly remembered that he was going abroad and was going to ask him for leave. Oh? Classmate Lin Yi, is there something wrong? Wang Zifan forced a smile on his face. He already had a psychological trauma. Every time he had an affair with that female teacher, he couldn't help but think that Lin Yi knew about it. So when Lin Yi called him, he couldn't help but think of the affair with the female teacher. This is a vicious circle, a cycle of cause and effect, over and over again. However, Wang Zifan was a little scared. This kid always did things that made him very embarrassed. Would he ask him to do something again? It's like this. I may have something to do in the next 2 days. I need to take a few days off. Is that okay? Lin Yi asked. Oh, of course it's no problem. You go and do your work. I'll say hello to your class teacher. Wang Zifan was relieved when he heard it. This kind of small matter was nothing at all. Besides, it was not the first or second time that Lin Yi skipped classes. After Wang Zifan left, Kang Xiaobo became curious. Boss, do you need leave for something? What's it for? You won't miss my second grandfather's birthday party this weekend, will you? Tang Yun's eyes widened, her gaze fixed on Lin Yi. She wanted to ask something too, but Kang Xiaobo spoke first. Only Liu Xinwen wasn't interested. Whether Lin Yi went to school or not was of little concern to her. Oh, I was invited to see a patient. Lin Yi couldn't possibly talk about his overseas trip, so he spoke half-truthfully. See a patient? You know how to see a patient? Yes, you know acupuncture. Liu Xinwen was a little surprised, but then remembered what happened to Xiaofen that day and nodded. Just going to help, Lin Yi smiled. That's great, Kang Xiaobo gave him a thumbs up in admiration. Boss, improve your medical skills quickly. It would be great if you could treat Xiaofen. Oh, I'll try, Lin Yi nodded. Kang Xiaobo and Tang Yun both knew that Lin Yi had some medical skills, so they weren't surprised to see him seeing patients. Last time, Lin Yi told Tang Yun that he had a way to cure Xiaofen's illness, but it wasn't working right now. So, naturally, They assumed Lin Yi was referring to the current state of medical expertise. Tang Yun had wanted to ask Lin Yi if he could see her father's illness, but remembering that Lin Yi couldn't even help Xiaofan, she didn't ask again. Entering the classroom, Chu Mengyao and Chen Yashu were already seated. Lin Yi and Kang Xiaobo walked in, both glanced up, then lowered their heads to attend to their own tasks. Zhong Pinliang was gloomy. He had made grand promises yesterday, proposing a love letter in blood, but that had ended with a bloody mess. Although no one mentioned the incident today, Zhong Pinliang felt that everyone was looking at him strangely, as if mocking and ridiculing him. He didn't know if it was just his own fault, but he felt a little uneasy. When Gao Xiaofu arrived, Zhong Pinliang quickly called him over and asked, "Xiaofu, do you think I should continue writing a love letter in blood to Chu Mengyao?" Chapter 316 You are so insincere. Huh? Gao Xiaofu was slightly stunned, still writing. Yes, I already released the news yesterday, saying that I would write a blood letter of love to Chu Mengyao, but although there was a little accident, what do you think of me if I don't write it? Will they laugh at me for being a coward? Zhong Pinliang asked. This, Gao Xiaofu put down his school bag and hesitated. Brother Liang, let's be honest, a man should keep his word. I think that whether others laugh at this matter or not, what they think about it, has nothing to do with you. The key is what Chu Mengyao thinks. Chu Mengyao's attitude is the key. That's right. Zhong Pinliang slapped his thigh and suddenly realized, Xiaofu, you really woke me up. Indeed, what others think has nothing to do with me. The key is Chu Mengyao's attitude. But how do I know what Chu Mengyao thinks? Does she want me to write a blood letter for her? This, Gao Xiaofu was not sure. How about you ask? How can I ask this? Xiaofu, how about this? You go ask Chen Yashu? She and Chu Mengyao are good friends. You can ask her, Zhong Pinliang suggested. That's fine. I'll ask. Gao Xiaofu nodded, took out his mobile phone, and sent a text message to Chen Yashu. With modern communication tools like mobile phones, there's no need to go and ask in person. Ms. Chen Yashu, may I ask what Miss Chu Mengyao thinks about Brother Liang writing a blood letter yesterday? Gao Xiaofu's text message was polite, as he was afraid Chu Mengyao would ignore him. However, this worry was unnecessary. Soon, Gao Xiaofu received a reply from Chen Yashu on his phone. Sister Yao said that Xiao Liang's hands are only suitable for squirting, so forget about a blood letter. Gao Xiaofu wanted to laugh, but didn't dare. He handed the phone to Zhong Pinliang. Zhong Pinliang read the text message and was a little confused. Xiaofu, what do you think she meant by that? Brother Liang, please forgive me for being frank, but I feel like Chu Mengyao despises you, Gao Xiaofu said carefully. Contempt. Zhong Pinliang was stunned. He took a closer look at the message and found that it did contain a hint of contempt. He immediately became anxious. Xiaofu, what should we do? Indeed, it seems that Chen Yashu is mocking me for not being able to write a blood letter. How about, Brother Liang, you write another blood letter? Prove to them that you are not incapable and what happened yesterday was just an accident, Gao Xiaofu suggested. Okay, Zhong Pinliang nodded. This was the only way. Gao Xiaofu hurriedly prepared a new piece of white paper for Zhong Pinliang. Zhong Pinliang took the carving knife, but he was a little hesitant to do it. It was not that he was afraid of the pain, but that what happened yesterday made him a little scared. What if he cut his finger and the bleeding did not stop? Zhong Pinliang hesitated. Brother Liang, what's wrong with you? Gao Xiaofu asked hurriedly when he saw Zhong Pinliang's hesitation. Xiaofu, I'm a little afraid to do it. What happened yesterday was too damn scary. Zhong Pinliang's hand holding the carving knife was shaking a little. Moreover, if he wanted to cut it today, he would definitely have to use a different finger. It was impossible to continue cutting on the wound from yesterday. Would that be extremely painful? So Zhong Pinliang really couldn't bring himself to do it. Brother Liang, a man should be a little hard on himself. How about I help you? Gao Xiaofu asked. You help me? Zhong Pinliang was stunned, then said, okay. Xiaofu, you are so kind. In that case, I won't be polite. I'll treat you to a big meal at noon. Huh? Gao Xiaofu was also stunned, then couldn't help but smile bitterly. He originally meant to help Zhong Pinliang cut his finger with the carving knife, but Zhong Pinliang obviously misunderstood his meaning, thinking that he wanted to help him cut his own finger and write a blood letter for him. What's wrong? Zhong Pinliang handed the carving knife to Gao Xiaofu. Is there a problem? No. Gao Xiaofu had no choice but to take the carving knife, gritted his teeth, and cut his index finger. Blood gushed out at once, but there was no hemorrhage like Zhong Pinliang did yesterday. Okay, Xiaofu, don't move. I'll use your finger to write a blood letter, Zhong Pinliang said, and then he held Gao Xiaofu's finger, and then started writing on the white paper in front of him. Little did he know that this scene was not unseen. Chen Yushu, who was not far away, held up her mobile phone and zoomed the camera to the farthest distance, just enough to see Zhong Pinliang and Gao Xiaofu clearly. Sister Yao, Zhong Pinliang is not that good. He actually used Gao Xiaofu's finger to write a blood letter for you. Isn't that too insincere? Chen Yushu said with a smile. Whose finger he used to write it? What does it have to do with me? Chu Mengyao ignored Chen Yushu and read the book by herself. Oh, it's so boring. Chen Yushu put away the phone with some regret. I want to see Zhong Pinliang's hand turn into a water gun again. Chu Mengyao was a little speechless. What's so good about that? Are you afraid that Zhong Pinliang will die too slowly? After the first period, Zhong Pinliang ran to Chu Mengyao's desk, clutching a letter written in Gao Xiaofu's blood. He lifted it up with both hands and said, Yao, please accept my most sincere declaration of love. Chu Mengyao frowned, not even glancing at Zhong Pinliang or paying him any attention. Chen Yushu, however, stood up with a smile and snatched the letter from Zhong Pinliang's hand. Let me check it out first. Is there anything wrong? Okay. Zhong Pinliang was overjoyed to hear Chen Yushu was willing to help. With Chen Yushu, Chu Mengyao's best friend, to guide him, wouldn't it be easy for him to catch up with her? Chen Yushu said, opening the letter and reading it. She didn't really want to read it. She didn't have time for such a shabby, unwritten letter. But she had an idea for a better solution. How about it? Zhong Pinliang looked at her expectantly, awaiting her advice. Hey, why don't you sign it? If you do that, who'll know who wrote it? Chen Yushu's eyes rolled around, and she finally found a breakthrough point. Signature. Zhong Pinliang was slightly stunned after hearing this. Isn't this a blood letter written by me? Do I still need to sign it? Nonsense. You seem very insincere, Chen Yushu said seriously. You don't even have a signature on this love letter. It's not formal at all. No wonder you haven't caught up with Sister Yao after chasing her for so long. At this point, Chen Yushu curled her lips, looking very contemptuous. Zhong Pinliang suddenly became anxious. Really? Then I'll go back and add it. Add it immediately. Chapter 317 Best Partner. No need to go back, just fix it here. Chen Yushu glanced at the bandage on Zhong Pinliang's hand with a half-smile. In addition to the cut index finger yesterday, Zhong Pinliang specially wrapped a bandage on the middle finger of his right hand to confuse Chu Mengyao and Chen Yushu. He certainly couldn't let them see that today's blood letter was written with Gao Xiaofu's blood. Here, Zhong Pinliang's expression was slightly startled, and suddenly a bitter smile appeared on his face. The wound on my hand has dried up. I have to go back and get a carving knife to cut it again. Oh, it's okay. I have a carving knife here. I'll lend it to you. As he said, Chen Yushu took out a carving knife from his school bag like a magician and handed it to Zhong Pinliang. Zhong Pinliang suddenly broke out in a sweat. Why was he so unlucky? He thought he had escaped before, but he didn't expect that he would have to cut his finger after all. Chen Yushu was watching right here, and if he didn't cut his finger, it would be a bit unreasonable. Zhong Pinliang's face suddenly broke out in a cold sweat. It's not good here. What if the blood spurts out and gets everywhere, and scares you guys? Hey, Xiaoyanzi, you don't understand this, do you? Chen Yushu thought to herself, how could I let you go back? I still want to see you bleed profusely. But on the surface, she looked lecturing. You can only show how much you love her by cutting your finger in front of the girl you love and signing your name in blood in front of her. Really? Zhong Pinliang was fooled by Chen Yushu, and his heart became active. Then I'll cut it now. What are you waiting for? Chen Yushu asked back. Well, then, a look of determination flashed across Zhong Pinliang's face. Chu Mengyao was amused, thinking to herself, this Xiaoshu is really playing tricks on people without blinking an eye. Zhong Pinliang has been badly hurt by Xiaoshu this time. However, she hated Zhong Pinliang in her heart and did not try to stop him. However, it was Chu Mengyao's indifferent attitude that created the illusion that Zhong Pinliang had acquiesced. Normally, if Chu Mengyao didn't like it, she would definitely drive him away impatiently. But this time, Chu Mengyao surprisingly didn't say anything, which meant that she acquiesced. Therefore, this increased Zhong Pinliang's determination. He took the carving knife handed over by Chen Yushu, hesitating which finger to cut this time. While Zhong Pinliang was hesitating, Chen Yushu quickly sent a text message to Lin Yi, calling Brother Arrow. Zhong Pinliang is here to cut his fingers again, please come to support. Zhong Pinliang held the carving knife, gritted his teeth, and as if he had made a difficult decision, he suddenly cut towards the thumb of his right hand. He could only cut this finger, because the other fingers were not convenient for writing. Lin Yi looked at the text message on the phone, slowly stood up, walked towards Zhong Pinliang, and smiled slightly when he saw that he had cut his finger. It seemed that this kid had not learned enough from yesterday's lesson. Don't block the way, Lin Yi pushed Zhong Pinliang, causing him to stumble. Zhong Pinliang was about to sign his name on the blood letter when he suddenly heard Lin Yi's voice from behind. He was immediately startled and thought Lin Yi was going to kick him again. However, after being pushed by Lin Yi strode straight over without stopping. Huh? Zhong Pinliang breathed a sigh of relief. It seemed that Lin Yi might be in a hurry to go to the toilet this time, so he didn't do anything to him. Wow, Chen Yushu pointed at Zhong Pinliang's finger excitedly. Xiao Liangzi, your finger is bleeding, so cool, do you have special abilities? Is this the legendary Six Meridians Divine Sword? Zhong Pinliang was slightly stunned, and didn't quite understand what Chen Yushu was talking about. But when he lowered his head and wanted to continue writing the blood letter, he found that the blood letter had been soaked in blood, and his hand was actually the same as yesterday, blood gushed out like a fountain. Ah, Zhong Pinliang screamed, and didn't care about the blood letter in his hand. He threw it aside and ran back to his seat in a hurry. Xiaofu, Band-Aid, give me a Band-Aid quickly. Looking at Zhong Pinliang's fleeing back, Chen Yushu stretched out two fingers, made a V shape, and cheered proudly. Yeah, success, and tacit cooperation with Brother Arrow. Chu Mengyao glanced at her bestie, really didn't know what to say. Now it can be confirmed that Zhong Pinliang's bleeding yesterday was definitely caused by Lin Yi. Before Lin Yi approached, the blood on Zhong Pinliang's finger had been flowing slowly. But after Lin Yi arrived, the blood began to gush out like a fountain. It was clearly Lin Yi's doing. Lin Yi and Chen Yushu were a perfect match, a prankster duo. Zhong Pinliang would have a hard time avoiding being tormented by them in the future. Chu Mengyao felt a pang of sourness in her heart at the thought of Chen Yushu and Lin Yi being a perfect match, but she had to admit that he and Xiaoshu were somewhat alike. Sister Yao, how's that? Pretty refreshing, huh? Let's see if Zhong Pinliang dares to write blood letters again. Chen Yushu glanced back in Zhong Pinliang's direction, only to see him frantically wrapping a Band-Aid around the wound. He wrapped it around and around, but one Band-Aid wasn't enough to stop the bleeding. In desperation, Zhong Pinliang resorted to using clear tape to wrap around his finger. Only this airtight tape could hold the wound together. Zhong Pinliang was puzzled. How could a cut on his finger end up like this? This has never happened before. Lin Yi went to the toilet and returned to the classroom. Seeing Chen Yushu winking at him and making a victory sign, Lin Yi smiled slightly. Boss, why did you go out just now? You didn't see such an exciting scene. Kang Xiaobo looked at Lin Yi with regret. Oh? What happened? Lin Yi sat down in his seat and asked with a smile. You don't know, Zhong Pinliang started to spurt blood again just now. It was simply spectacular. I have never seen someone bleed so much, Kang Xiaobo said. You didn't see it. It was even worse than yesterday. The blood on his hands spurted out. Oh, really? Lin Yi thought to himself, of course it would be worse than yesterday. Yesterday he just accelerated his blood circulation, and today he raised his blood pressure a little bit. As he was talking, Lin Yi's phone vibrated again and received a text message. Good cooperation, best partners. Yeah, it was a text message from Chen Yushu. After taking a look at it, Lin Yi closed the phone casually. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 318 I Don't Understand. Kang Xiaobo curiously asked, Boss, whose text is this? Could it be from Tang Yun's wife? What Tang Yun? She doesn't even have a cell phone. Lin Yi glared at Kang Xiaobo. It's the weather forecast. Oh, Kang Xiaobo recalled, remembering Lin Yi's promise to take Tang Yun to buy a cell phone at noon. He was also planning to buy one for Xiaofan. At noon, Lin Yi, Tang Yun, Kang Xiaobo, and Liu Xinwen left the school together. Lin Yi had a beat-up van, so he naturally didn't need a taxi anymore. While it wasn't great, it was better than nothing and much more convenient. Tang Yun, Kang Xiaobo wants to buy Xiaofan a cell phone so they can keep in touch? What about you? Lin Yi asked Tang Yun, who was sitting in the passenger seat, as he drove. Kang Xiaobo proactively gave up his seat to Tang Yun this time, and he and Liu Xinwen took the back seat. Me? If I don't buy one, there's no use for me, Tang Yun shook her head. With her family situation, how could she afford a cell phone? Although the phone wasn't expensive, it still required a SIM card and monthly rental fees, which were significant expenses. So Tang Yun flatly refused. Boss paid for it, Kang Xiaobo interjected. Xiaofan's phone was also a gift from boss. Sister-in-law, if you don't want it, and he only buys Xiaofan one, she definitely won't accept it. Please help. Hearing Kang Xiaobo's words, Tang Yun couldn't help but chuckle. Buying someone a phone, and even begging them to buy it, Tang Yun remembered that time at the night market when Lin Yi bought her a dress and then asked her for 50 yuan. Sometimes, it's truly strange to think about it. Back then, she hated him so much, hated him to death, and now she was sitting quietly beside him in his car. Out of anger, she'd thrown the dress into her closet after buying it, never wearing it. But she should be able to find it when she got home tonight. Thinking of this, Tang Yun couldn't help but smile. If he had given her the dress, would she have accepted it? The answer was no. But now, Lin Yi wanted to buy himself a cell phone, and after Kang Xiaobo persuaded Tang Yun a few times, she acquiesced. Lin Yi parked the car in front of a cell phone store, and the four of them got out. Seeing that the four of them were wearing school uniforms, the salesperson knew they were students and directly recommended several cheap cell phones. Kang Xiaobo also wanted to buy a cheaper cell phone. He didn't want Lin Yi to spend money on smartphones that cost thousands of yuan. What price range do you want to buy? The salesperson asked. Kang Xiaobo wanted to say 200 or 300 yuan, but the decision still had to be made by Lin Yi, so he turned to look at Lin Yi. Lin Yi knew that Kang Xiaobo wanted to buy a cheap one. According to his idea yesterday, he wanted to buy a 200 or 300 yuan one, but Lin Yi didn't want to buy something too cheap for Tang Yun. If he bought a 200 or 300 yuan one for Xiaofan, Lin Yi naturally couldn't buy Tang Yun an expensive one to treat her differently. It would be bad if Xiaofan had any ideas. Around 1,000 yuan, I think, Lin Yi thought for a moment and suggested a price. Tang Yun couldn't accept something too expensive, so this one should be about right. The Nokia 5233, for example. It's very popular among students. It's affordable and has all the features. It just lacks GPS navigation, but you students don't need that anyway. The salesperson brought out a phone and introduced it to Lin Yi and the others. It's cheaper than the 5230, only 833 yuan. What do you think? Lin Yi pushed the phone towards Tang Yun, asking for her opinion. It's pretty good, but a bit pricey. Tang Yun still had some difficulty accepting Lin Yi's offer. Even though Kang Xiaobo had persuaded her for a long time, she still felt it was inappropriate. How? Lin Yi smiled and said to the salesperson, then take 3 of these phones. How about the one you bought for over 300 yuan? Tang Yun hesitated, seeing that Lin Yi was determined to buy it, and pointed to the other phone that cost over 300 yuan. Please, Kang Xiaobo, this is for Xiaofan. It's too shabby, he can't afford it, right? Lin Yi whispered. Oh, Tang Yun could only nod, but she felt a bit depressed. She owed Lin Yi more and more. How could she repay him? From the barbecue recipe, to him helping her and her mother fight off those bullying colleagues, to Xiaofan's medical expenses, although Kang Xiaobo contributed to it, her own face was probably also involved. So Tang Yun couldn't pretend to know nothing. He had saved her again, and now he wanted to buy her a phone. Tang Yun really didn't know if her relationship with Lin Yi would become more and more complicated if this continued. Did he really like her? While he was hesitating, Lin Yi had already bought 3 phones and selected 2 SIM cards, one ending in Xiaofan's birthday and one for Tang Yun's birthday. Liu Xinwen was in charge of selecting both. Lin Yi swiped the cards and distributed the phones, one for Tang Yun, one for Kang Xiaobo, and Liu Xinwen had an older phone, so she didn't need to buy one. Lin Yi used the remaining one himself. His previous expensive phone had also broken, so this time Lin Yi simply bought a cheap one. No matter how expensive it was, it would have been ruined if it had been soaked in water. Lin Yi's job was quite dangerous, so he simply opted for a cheaper phone. If it weren't for the fact that Chen Yushu's phone was so feminine, Lin Yi would have been embarrassed to give it to anyone else. Tang Yun sighed softly, thinking, I'll just keep owing it. I already owed a lot anyway, so a phone wouldn't be a big deal. But after getting in the car, she said to Lin Yi in a barely audible voice, thank you. How? Lin Yi smiled, tilting his head and looking at Tang Yun mischievously. Then how do you thank me? What do you mean by thank you? Tang Yun was startled, her face flushing. Remembering what she'd promised him at the hospital yesterday, her heart racing. It seems you owed me a kiss yesterday at the hospital, Lin Yi said in a low voice. Sure enough, he was talking about that exact thing. Tang Yun blushed. What? I don't know what you're talking about. I don't understand. How? Lin Yi turned away and started the car. Seeing Tang Yun's adorable helpless look, he couldn't bear to tease her anymore. It was indeed not an easy task to get this self-protective hedgehog-like girl to completely open up to him. Tang Yun said, Yuren is such a good classmate. He works very hard and updated his book 5 times today. He is a diligent fish. Everyone, go and vote for him and then write a comment in the book review section to praise him. He will be very happy. Chapter 319 A Moment of Brilliance. Lin Yi drove Tang Yun, Kang Xiaobo, and Liu Xinwen to the hospital entrance. Then I'm leaving. Tang Yun, clutching the phone box, felt a little nervous. It was her first time accepting such an expensive gift, and it was from a boy, which left her feeling restless. Well, I might not turn on my phone for a few days. If you have something to say, just text me. I'll check it when I turn it on, Lin Yi said. You and Xiaobo can take a taxi back later. Let Xiaobo pay. Yes, Tang Yun couldn't help but smile at Lin Yi's words, a momentary brilliance like a blooming flower. Lin Yi, with a sudden impulse, grabbed Tang Yun's hand and pulled her back. What are you doing? Tang Yun was startled and subconsciously glanced at Kang Xiaobo and Liu Xinwen, who had already gotten out of the car. Seeing that they hadn't noticed her, she breathed a sigh of relief. Don't you want to show some respect before we part? Lin Yi pointed at his face and asked. Say it again. Tang Yun couldn't stand Lin Yi's flirtation. She struggled to free herself from his grasp and quickly scurried out of the car. She breathed a sigh of relief, her heart racing. She gave Lin Yi a stern look, pouted, and turned away, ignoring him. If anyone else had treated Tang Yun like this, she would have burst into tears and run away. However, with Lin Yi, she felt only shyness. Tang Yun, suddenly aware of this, felt a sense of confusion. She was sinking deeper and deeper into the ditch. Was this a good thing? Yunayan, what's wrong? You don't look right. Liu Xinwen was talking to Kang Xiaobo when she looked up and saw Tang Yun. Her face was flushed, as if she had a heat stroke. No, it's okay. Tang Yun quickly shook her head, preventing Liu Xinwen from noticing. Let's go for a walk. Liu Xinwen shook her head, unsure of what was wrong with Tang Yun. She glanced back at Lin Yi's car, but saw it had already driven away. She buried her doubts in her heart. Before leaving the country, Lin Yi had to first address Liu Zhenhu's illness. While extorting some money from him, he could also allow Guanzuman to start planning the pharmaceutical company as soon as possible. This incident taught Lin Yi the lesson that being early is worse than being lucky. Just when he was trying to find 100 million yuan in startup capital, the Liu family suddenly sent it to him. This fundraising efficiency was unparalleled. Lin Yi first called Guanzuman and asked him to summon Liu Zhenhu and the others, and he would arrive shortly afterwards. Okay, Liu Xianyi is already waiting here. He'll have someone bring old man Liu over as soon as you hear from him, Guanzuman said. Have you had lunch yet? Not yet, but there's no rush, Lin Yi said. Then, I'll have Xingxin prepare some food, Guanzuman said without hesitation. Okay, Lin Yi said without arguing, driving directly to Guanzuman's house. When Lin Yi arrived, Liu Zhenhu had already arrived, sitting in the villa's lobby, waiting for him. Upon seeing Lin Yi enter, old Liu Zhenhu, supported by Liu Xianyi, stood up. Miraculous young doctor, thank you for your help. Liu Zhenhu's attitude made Lin Yi a little embarrassed. He had accepted so much money, and yet he was still being so respectful. However, he was truly short of money, so he couldn't be soft-hearted. Besides, it wasn't his fault. If anyone was to blame, it was their daughter-in-law, a snobbish one, and a clueless nephew. Old Liu, No need to be so polite, Lin Yi waved his hand. Let's go and find a spare room, okay, miraculous Dr. Lin. About the consultation fee, Liu Xianyi was no fool. He wouldn't have mentioned it if the other person hadn't asked. If he pretended not to know, he would have been ignorant. Grandpa Guan, do you have a bank account? Just transfer the money. Lin Yi turned to look at Guan Zuman. Transfer it to me. Guan Zuman was slightly startled, then realized Lin Yi was asking him to set up a pharmaceutical company. He nodded. All right, transfer it to me first. Mr. Liu, do you know my account number? I do. Liu Xianyi nodded. He had already planned to transfer 2 million yuan to Guan Zuman for his consultation, so he had also written down Guan Zuman's number. Liu Xianyi called his subordinate and had him transfer the 100 million yuan he had prepared to Guan Zuman's account. A moment later, Guan Zuman's phone received a notification of the incoming funds. After confirming that everything was fine, Lin Yi nodded in satisfaction. It seemed Liu Xianyi was a man of his word, so they didn't need to completely break off their relationship. It was just that his wife was a bit disappointing. In an empty room upstairs, Lin Yi had Liu Zhenhu lie down and asked Guan Zuman for a box of silver needles. Then, he stared at Liu Zhenhu quietly, not rushing to give him the needles, but pondering something. Liu Zhenhu's condition had already been examined during their first encounter, so Lin Yi didn't need to recheck. His current focus was on a treatment plan, how to quickly and effectively cure Liu Zhenhu's angina. Of course, a complete cure was impossible, at least not right now. Old Man Lin's elixirs were hidden like treasures, making it impossible for him to retrieve them. While a 10-year relapse-free period was possible, it felt a bit deceptive. Lin Yi sighed. Never mind. He'd keep it under control for 10 years. If Liu Zhenhu truly lived to be 100, he could consider other options. With this in mind, Lin Yi began rapidly inserting needles into Liu Zhenhu's body. His speed astonished even the acupuncturist Guan Zuman, a master of acupuncture. It was a seamless, flowing motion. 2 minutes later, Lin Yi began lifting, inserting, and twisting each needle. Niguan, Zeman, Yixi, Juk, Tanzhong, channel your ki and channel your energy. Elder Jiao's voice suddenly echoed in Lin Yi's ears. Lin Yi was immediately overjoyed. Although he didn't know what kind of existence Jiao Lao was, with his help, he could obviously get twice the result with half the effort. Lin Yi hurriedly followed his instructions. At this moment, the handle of the silver needle array, which had been injected with energy, suddenly buzzed and trembled, as if something was driving it. Even after Lin Yi's hand left the array handle, the silver needles continued to tremble on Liu Zhenhu's body. Guan Zuman widened his eyes, looking at the silver needles on Liu Zhenhu's body in disbelief. What kind of acupuncture is this? How come he has never seen it before? Not only has he never seen it, he has never even heard of it. He never knew that the silver needles could dance on the patient after leaving the acupuncturist. Chapter 320, Hidden Master. Liu Xianyi, who was watching Lin Yi perform the acupuncture, though unfamiliar with acupuncture, was also stunned by the bizarre phenomenon before him. Seeing Guan Zuman's similar expression, Liu Xianyi was now even more certain that Lin Yi was a hidden master. In fact, while Guan Zuman and Liu Xianyi were astonished, Lin Yi was also shocked. He had never imagined that infusing the silver needles with the energy of the Xuanyuan Yulong Jue could produce such a significant change. Master Jiao, what's going on? Lin Yi asked inwardly. It's normal, Master Jiao said calmly. Although your current level of skill doesn't allow you to use the energy generated by the Xuanyuan Yulong Jue to treat the patient, just like last time, you should be able to maintain the effect. Continue to follow my instructions, and you should be able to make it through 10 years. What? That's all. Lin Yi was surprised and delighted. His original plan had been to combine acupuncture with medication. With continued medication after acupuncture, he could also control the angina, though he would have to repeat the procedure annually. Of course, Lin Yi had already prepared an excuse: annual checkups. He figured the Liu family would be happy to bring Liu Zhenhu to them for acupuncture, and that wouldn't violate his original promise to cure him for 10 years, not a one-time cure. But now, that worry seemed to have vanished, as Elder Jiao's voice rang out, nonsense. The pure energy in your body is more than enough to sustain a patient's bodily functions. Is it strange that you're still able to do this? A little strange. Does that mean other yellow rank masters can do the same? Lin Yi asked. Didn't I tell you? Only the energy in your body is pure energy. The techniques they practice produce what's called zhenki. Each technique produces a different zhenki, so this zhenki produced is only effective for their own disciples. Using it on others would either be useless or counterproductive, Elder Jiao said, his voice filled with disappointment. Is that so? Lin Yi gave a few embarrassed dry laughs. In front of others, Lin Yi could arrogantly call them idiots, but in front of Elder Jiao, Lin Yi could only laugh dryly. Okay, time to withdraw the needles. Next, you follow the order I told you to insert the silver needles into the Jiao Inshu points one by one. Elder Jiao named a few more acupuncture points, and then said, transfer the energy into them. Lin Yi did as he was told, and the silver needles began to dance again, which amazed Guanzuman. Liu Xianyi even worshipped Lin Yi as if he were a god. The 100 million yuan was worth it. If they had a disagreement with Lin Yi because of the 100 million yuan, not only would they not have witnessed such a miraculous treatment method, but the Liu family would have missed out on a miracle doctor. Lin Yi let out a long breath. Although he had plenty of energy, the long process of transferring that energy had left him sweating profusely. After repeating this 3 times, Lin Yi put away the needles, wiped the sweat from his forehead, and said, "It's done, it's done." Liu Xianyi didn't disbelieve Lin Yi, but it had only been over an hour. His father had been dealing with an old ailment for years, and his father had visited countless famous doctors but couldn't recover from it. And yet, he was healed in just over an hour? Although he had witnessed the wonders of Lin Yi's acupuncture, he was still a little incredulous that Lin Yi had cured his father in such a short time. But he didn't dare ask, for fear of upsetting Lin Yi. He could only hold back his question and look at his father. "Dad, how are you feeling?" Liu Xianyi could only ask his father how he felt. "Much better, so comfortable. But I feel so uncomfortable. I need to take a shower." Liu Zhenhu felt refreshed, but there was a sticky feeling all over his body that was very uncomfortable. Liu Xianyi ran over to help his father up, only to be startled by a layer of dark, yellow, greasy dirt covering his father's skin. "What is this?" Guanzuman, alerted by Liu Xianyi's words, also walked over. Lin Yi had been performing acupuncture, and the 2 men had stood far behind him, fearing to disturb him. When they approached, their hands began to tremble with shock. Marrow cleansing and bone healing. Guanzuman was well aware of the ancient medical tradition of marrow cleansing and bone healing, but it had been lost for years. Marrow cleansing and bone healing involves using acupuncture or herbal medicine to expel toxins from the body, achieving a kind of rebirth. Eating whole grains inevitably accumulates toxins in the body. While metabolism can eliminate some is absorbed by the body. Over time, these toxins accumulate. Guanzuman hadn't anticipated the efficacy of Lin Yi's acupuncture, which not only healed but also expelled toxins. Lin Yi was slightly taken aback when he heard Guanzuman's call, but then he heard Jiao Yazi's voice. "Lin Yi, your pure energy has some detoxifying effects, so even if you don't do it specifically, it will bring about this result. However, if this is the case, Liu Zhenhu will probably have to live a few more years. In 10 years, you will have to give him acupuncture again." Liu Zhenhu? Lin Yi was speechless, but coming from Jiao Lao's mouth, these words didn't seem too strange. Who knows what kind of existence this old monster Jiao Lao is? Although Lin Yi wanted to ask, Jiao Lao always said that he was too weak now and didn't need to know too much, so Lin Yi had no choice. But one thing is certain, that is, Jiao Lao is much older than Liu Zhenhu, so he can call him boy. Lin Yi smiled at Guanzuman without explaining. It seems that Liu Zhenhu's 100 million was not wasted. Not only did he cure his illness, but he also extended his life. Such good things can't be bought with money. However, since Liu Zhenhu can live a few more years, Lin Yi still has to take precautions, so he said in a mysterious and light tone, "Grandpa Liu is not in good health, so I did it for the time being, but I have to tell Mr. Liu some bad news first." "Oh? What news?" "Dr. Lin, please tell me." Liu Xianyi was shocked. He originally thought that marrow washing and bone thinning was a good thing. Seeing Guanzuman so excited, he thought his father had picked up a big bargain, but when he heard Lin Yi say that there was bad news, even Liu Zhenhu, who had always been calm, couldn't help but raise his head. Did Lin Yi say that it was cured? How could there be bad news? Could this marrow washing and bone thinning be harmful to the body? But he felt very comfortable. Including Guanzuman, he stopped checking the oil stains on Liu Zhenhu's body, raised his head, and looked at Lin Yi. Chapter 321 I have bad news for you. Lin Yi didn't expect that everyone was looking at him with such nervous eyes. He felt a little ashamed. Did his tone seem to scare them a little? Mr. Liu, I said that Mr. Liu's illness can be cured in 10 years. That's 10 years. The marrow washing and bone cutting are given to me for free, Lin Yi paused here and said, but the bad news is that you still have to prepare money after 10 years. After the marrow washing and bone cutting, Mr. Liu can live for more than 10 years. Liu Xuanyuan was stunned, and then he was surprised and happy. This is not bad news at all, this is simply the best news. How can it be bad news? What does it matter if I prepare money after 10 years? As long as my father is still alive, the Liu family will continue to prosper. Liu Xuanyuan was so excited that he was almost speechless. Divine Dr. Lin, let's not talk about anything else. You are the savior of our Liu family. Lin Yi waved his hand. Okay, I'm tired and need to rest for a while. Yes. Divine Dr. Lin must rest for a while. I'll take my father to take a shower first. After hearing Lin Yi's words, Liu Xuanyuan didn't dare to disturb Lin Yi anymore. He wanted to say some more words of gratitude, but held it back. Liu Zhenhu was also overjoyed after hearing Lin Yi's words. Not only can he live another 10 years, but he can live a few more years on top of the 10 years? This is really good news. Xuanyuan, after this incident, you must prepare another big gift for Divine Dr. Lin. Consultation fee is consultation fee, and thank you gift is thank you gift. These two cannot be confused. Liu Zhenhu knew the importance of a miracle doctor to the family, and naturally would not miss any opportunity to make friends with Lin Yi. Liu Zhenhu would never look down on Lin Yi again at this moment. Ambition is not about age. Although Lin Yi is not young, he has the ability that is real. Yes, Dad. I understand. Liu Xuanyuan nodded quickly, trying to help his father up. No need. I feel like I've gotten a dozen years younger. Like I'm back to my 70s. I'm in great shape and have the strength. Liu Zhenhu waved his hand, stood up, and walked a few steady steps around the room. Not bad, very good. Liu Xuanyuan was now even more astonished. Although he hadn't doubted Lin Yi's words before, seeing them with his own eyes was still a shock. His father, who used to need someone to help him walk and couldn't even walk fast, was now walking briskly. Could he still be a man in his 90s? Liu Xuanyuan was determined at this moment to establish a good relationship with Lin Yi, no matter the cost. This was a rising star in the medical field. If his family took the initiative now, waiting for the news to spread and all the other prominent families to flock to curry favor with Lin Yi, then the Liu family would be left with nothing, and their influence would be diminished. Liu Xuanyuan, Liu Zhenhu, and Guanzuman left the room and closed the door for Lin Yi. Although Lin Yi was a little tired, he silently ran through the mental formula of the first level of Xuanyuan Yulong Jue in his mind, and the lost energy was replenished, and he regained his previous energetic appearance. How can you be so insidious, kid? You can't cure people's diseases, and you let them prepare money to see patients 10 years later, and they are still grateful to you. Jiao Yezi's voice rang out. Then what should I say? Should I say that I didn't cure it? Lin Yi sweet dropped. And he was indeed a bit insidious. But you are still not insidious enough, not as insidious as my uncle. If it were him, he would charge another fee for marrow cleansing and bone cutting, Jiao Yezi said. Lin Yi fainted immediately. When Lin Yi went downstairs, he saw that Guanzin had already put the food on the table, and Liu Zhenhu and Liu Xuanyuan had not left. Liu Zhenhu had obviously just taken a shower, and his hair was still wet, but he seemed very energetic and was chatting with Guanzuman. Seeing Lin Yi coming down, Liu Zhenhu and Liu Xuanyuan stood up again. Divine Dr. Lin, thank you for your hard work. Is it okay? Is it time for dinner? Mr. Liu and Mr. Liu, would you like to have something together? Lin Yi looked at the food on the table and saw that it was enough for several people, so he invited them. Then I'll obey your command. I'm so shameless to come and eat for free. Liu Zhenhu also wanted the Liu family and Lin Yi to get closer, so he immediately accepted Lin Yi's invitation. Now the Liu family believed that Lin Yi was indeed Guanzuman's teacher. So, even though this was Guanzuman's home, they couldn't just stay and have lunch with Lin Yi. Guanzin brought the dishes one by one, then placed the bowls and chopsticks on the table like a well-behaved wife. Okay, let's eat together. Xiaoyi must be hungry, right? No need for formalities, let's get straight to the point. Guanzuman was worried that Lin Yi had just exhausted himself, So he greeted everyone and got straight to the point. "Oh, okay," Lin Yi nodded, but seeing Guanxin standing nearby, he looked a bit puzzled. "Guanxin, are you joining us?" Guanxin glanced at Guanzuman. In the past, when Guanzuman had friends over, Guanxin wouldn't join in the fun. She was the younger one, after all. Yesterday, because it was just Lin Yi, and they knew each other, and Guanzuman specifically wanted to introduce him to her, Guanxin had attended. But today, with Liu Zhenhu and Liu Xianyi around, it wasn't easy for Guanxin to just sit down. "Xixing, let's eat together. Sit next to Xiayi," Guanzuman said with a grin. "Okay," Guanxin nodded, delighted, and happily took the seat next to Lin Yi. Liu Xianyi had wanted to sit next to Lin Yi and get close to him, but Guanxin suddenly sat down, disappointing him. However, he began to value Guanxin even more. Her shy and joyful expression caught Liu Xianyi's eye. Liu Xianyi was no fool. He immediately saw Guanxin's affection for Lin Yi, and his thoughts raced. No wonder Lin Yi and the Guan family were so close. It was for this very reason. It seemed that even after meeting the miraculous Dr. Lin Yi, he couldn't sever his ties with Guanzuman. Liu Xianyi made a secret decision. Guanxin had put a great deal of thought into today's meal, a truly remarkable achievement compared to yesterday's. Lin Yi naturally devoured it with relish. Guanxin ate very little, but seeing Lin Yi enjoying his meal with such relish made her even happier. After dinner, Lin Yi didn't linger. He still had to prepare his trip abroad. He was almost due to leave for the airport. His flight was for 4 p.m., and it was already past 1 p.m. Seeing Lin Yi's hasty departure, Liu Xianyi and Liu Zhenhu were somewhat disappointed, as was Guanxin. Guanzuman, however, didn't mind. He used to look forward to Lin Yi's visits, but now that they had a collaborative project, he was sure to come more often. After calling Uncle Fu and learning that he was already waiting outside Chu Mengyao's villa, Lin Yi drove back to the villa area. Chapter 322 Meeting Wang Xinyan again. Uncle Fu's Bentley was already parked at the entrance to the villa. Lin Yi parked the van in the open space in the villa's garden and opened Uncle Fu's door. "Uncle Fu, wait a minute while I change my clothes." "Okay, you can go get your things," Uncle Fu nodded. Lin Yi was wearing his school uniform, so he couldn't go abroad directly because it would be too conspicuous. First High School's uniform wasn't very conspicuous in Songshan City, but it wasn't in other cities, let alone foreign countries. If Lin Yi showed up dressed like that, he'd definitely attract the attention of the local gangs. Lin Yi changed into the casual clothes he bought at the night market that day and put on sunglasses. He then took the razor blade out of his shoe and threw it in the drawer. Such things wouldn't pass airport security. He could just buy another one and put it in his shoe once he got there. Lin Yi even left his phone on the desk and left without anything else. "You're not taking anything?" Uncle Fu looked at Lin Yi's outfit with some surprise. "What's there to take? It's just bringing someone back." Lin Yi shook his head. Uncle Fu didn't say anything, and handed Lin Yi a credit card and a plane ticket. The credit card can be overdrawn up to $1 million, and the password is the same as the card I gave you before. Lin Yi didn't refuse, and took the credit card and plane ticket and put them in his pocket. Lin Yi was no stranger to flying, but this was the first time he took a plane under the identity of Lin Yi. When he was on missions before, he used all kinds of messy names. Lin Yi traveled light and quickly passed the security check and boarded the plane. Uncle Fu bought a first-class ticket. I think with Chu Pengzhan's financial resources, a first-class ticket is nothing. Uncle Fu bought a transfer package, which required him to transfer in Yanjing. However, Lin Yi closed his eyes and prepared to sleep as soon as he got on the plane. "Sir, can I come over?" Lin Yi's seat was by the aisle, and he lowered his head as if he had fallen asleep as soon as he got on the plane. However, in fact, Lin Yi was not asleep, he just closed his eyes. When he heard someone talking, he guessed that it might be the passenger sitting inside, so he stood up. However, when he saw the person, he was stunned. "Huh? It's you?" Wang Xinyan looked at the man in front of her wearing super large sunglasses. He felt familiar, but she didn't know who he was. "You are?" Lin Yi was startled, then remembered that he was still wearing sunglasses, so he reached out and took them off. "What about this time? It's you." "Lin Yi." Wang Xinyan looked at Lin Yi in surprise. "Why are you here?" But then Wang Xinyan realized that her question was a bit stupid. This was on a plane. If Lin Yi was here, he must be taking a plane to Yanjing, Otherwise he would not be here. Why are you here? That's why I am here. Lin Yi shrugged. Do you have luggage? I can help you put it up. Yes. Wang Xinayan hesitated for a moment, but nodded. She was dragging a suitcase. It would be a bit troublesome for a girl to lift it. She originally wanted to wait for the flight attendant to help, but since Lin Yi was doing it, Wang Xinayan didn't hesitate. Thank you, it's just a piece of cake. Lin Yi opened the luggage rack on the plane with one hand, and with the other hand, he grabbed Wang Xinayan's suitcase and put it on steadily. Wang Xinayan opened her mouth wide. Although the suitcase was not heavy, Lin Yi was strong enough to put it on with one hand. Wang Xinayan sat in it, and Lin Yi sat down too. Thank you for what happened last time. Wang Xinayan had always wanted to say thank you to Lin Yi. If Lin Yi hadn't been there, she might have gotten into big trouble. It's just a small favor, nothing. Lin Yi shook his head. Besides, didn't you help me last time on the train? Haha, that time. Wang Xinayan laughed as she recalled what happened on the train. You scared me to death that time. I thought you were being scammed, but who knew it was those people who got in trouble. By the way, are you going to Yanjing too? Yeah, just a layover. Lin Yi nodded. Oh, I see. Wang Xinayan was slightly disappointed. She had wanted to treat Lin Yi to a meal to express her gratitude, but since Lin Yi was on a layover, he couldn't leave the airport. Airports are mostly fast food, so a formal treat wouldn't be appropriate. What about you? What are you doing in Yanjing? Lin Yi asked. I'm dealing with some family matters. At this point, Wang Xinayan's expression darkened. Oh, seeing that Wang Xinayan didn't seem to want to talk about her own affairs, Lin Yi didn't ask any more questions. A sudden silence fell between the two. It was obvious that Wang Xinayan wasn't very sociable either, a bit of an introvert. Otherwise, she wouldn't have been listening to her MP3 player quietly by herself when they met on the train. And in the downtown shopping street, it was precisely because of Wang Xinayan's poor communication skills that Wu Huru blackmailed her. If she had run into Chen Yashu, the pushy type, or Li Xinwen, the aggressive type, it would have been Wu Huru who would have fled. What's your phone number? What's your phone number? They both spoke almost simultaneously, smiling at each other. Wang Xinayan blushed slightly. Give me your phone, I'll input it for you. I don't have it with me. I'll give you my number, and then you can just text me, Lin Yi said. My number is 152XXXX1234. Yes, Wang Xinayan nodded, pulled out a small phone, entered Lin Yi's number, and then typed a text message. Are you from Yanjing? The journey was long, and Wang Xinayan wasn't very talkative, so Lin Yi had to find a topic of conversation himself. It's my grandpa's house, Wang Xinayan said here with some sadness. My grandpa passed away and I went to attend the funeral. Lin Yi was stunned, and he knew that he had mentioned Wang Xinayan's sad story. My condolences. But why are you alone? My parents went there before me. I was still in school and had to ask for leave, so I rushed there in a hurry. Wang Xinayan explained. It's nothing. My relationship with my grandpa is not very good. We haven't met many times. I just feel a little sad. When my mother married my father, she broke with the family. My grandpa and my grandfather were enemies. Lin Yi felt a little confused. The relationship between this family was complicated enough. No wonder there was not much sadness on Wang Xinayan's face. Maybe her mother seldom went back since she broke with the family. And since her grandpa was an enemy of her grandfather, he naturally would not be too kind to her, a member of the Wang family with the surname Wang. Every family has its own problems, but you are okay. I am more unlucky. I still don't know who my parents are, Lin Yi comforted Wang Xinayan. Chapter 323 The information is wrong. Wang Xinayan was stunned. You are an orphan, you can say that, but I have an old man who loves me. You can call him adoptive father or adoptive grandfather. Anyway, his age is a bit awkward. Lin Yi scratched his scalp. I can only call him old man. Wang Xinayan was amused by Lin Yi. You don't have to comfort me, I'm really fine, I just feel a little uncomfortable. Grandpa just passed away, and several uncles started fighting for the family property. Even Grandpa's body was thrown in the hospital and no one took care of it. It was my parents who handled the funeral. Lin Yi was speechless. He didn't know what to say to Wang Xinayan's uncles. They actually asked a broken-up daughter to come back to deal with the funeral, while they were busy fighting for the family property. But it doesn't matter. Our family isn't aiming for anything. Although my grandparents' family is wealthy, richer and more powerful than my own, My parents have built a sizable fortune over the years. Wang Zinayan had been holding these words in for a long time, probably because she usually had no one to confide in. Now, she opened up to Lin Yi, a person she was relatively easy to talk to. My uncle said my mom went back home at this time to fight for the family fortune. Lin Yi listened quietly to Wang Zinayan's words, unsure what to say. This was someone else's family affair, and he couldn't get involved. I'm just complaining. Just leave me alone, Wang Zinayan said with a wry smile, shaking her head. Nothing, didn't I say? Every family has its own problems. Things like this are hard to handle. Just do your best, Lin Yi said. Yeah, just do your best, Wang Zinayan nodded. They talked for a while, and Wang Zinayan seemed tired, leaning back in her chair. After a while, she fell asleep. Lin Yi turned down the air conditioner for her and closed his eyes. When he woke up again, the plane had already begun its descent. Wang Zinayan had woken up at some point and was sitting quietly listening to her MP3 player. Several bags of snacks and a glass of juice were on the table. Seeing Lin Yi awake, Wang Zinayan took off her headphones and handed Lin Yi a bag of snacks. Here, they were distributed on the plane while you were asleep. I picked up one for you, you can have some. I don't really like these. Lin Yi glanced at the snacks, which looked like dehydrated vegetable chips, and said he wasn't interested. Yes, thank you. Wang Zinayan seemed to enjoy these kinds of snacks, having already finished her portion. The plane soon landed at Yanjing Airport. After getting off the plane, Wang Zinayan went to the domestic arrivals gate, while Lin Yi went to the international transfer lounge. His encounter with Wang Zinayan was just a brief incident. Lin Yi boarded the plane to the Blue City. This time, there were no familiar faces on the plane, so Lin Yi simply closed his eyes and fell asleep. When he opened his eyes, he was already in a foreign land. It was an exotic town, but not Blue Town, which was several kilometers away. Lin Yi hailed a taxi after leaving the airport and told them in English that he was going to Blue Town. English, a universal language, was equally effective in this exotic European town. The taxi driver was accustomed to the constant flow of passengers from the airport to Blue Town. Ever since Blue Town fell under the control of the Water Blue Gang, it had become a place of extravagance and debauchery, with casinos, red light districts, and drug dealing. Every day, a number of tourists flocked to Blue Town, attracted by its reputation. The taxi driver, in turn, assumed Lin Yi was a tourist. Young man, it's okay to have some fun there, but don't get too caught up in it, or else, haha, thanks, I'm just going to take a look. Lin Yi thought the driver was a good person for reminding him. The driver stopped trying to persuade him and instead began introducing the local customs and culture of Blue Town. Someone like Lin Yi, with a distinctly Asian face, looked like a tourist. In Blue Town, don't offend those wearing blue baseball caps. They're members of the Water Blue Gang, who hang out in casinos and prostitution dens. The Water Blue Gang is the only gang in Blue Town and very powerful. If you offend them, you might never come back. I've heard of that, Lin Yi nodded. By the way, driver, where's the Water Blue Gang's headquarters? Headquarters? Why are you asking that? The driver suddenly became wary. I live far away from them. It sounds scary, and I'm traveling alone, so I want to avoid as much trouble as possible, Lin Yi explained with a smile. So that's how it is. The driver breathed a sigh of relief and smiled. The Water Blue Gang's headquarters is in an old castle west of town, but the true core of the gang isn't actually there. Because the castle is too conspicuous, only members of the gang are there now. Is that so? Lin Yi thought. Could the information be wrong? The information Zi Guangbo had given him indicated that the Blue Castle was the headquarters of the Water Blue Gang. But how could Zi Guangbo not have investigated something that even a taxi driver knew? Haha, yes. One of my cousins is a member of the Water Blue Gang, so he knows more. Their true headquarters is in an auto repair shop in the North District. Only a few people know about it, not the general public. But since you're a tourist from out of town, it's okay for me to tell you. Just try not to go to the North District, okay? Then I won't go. Lin Yi's heart skipped a beat. As expected. While the Water Blue Gang's true headquarters wasn't a big secret, because it was so far from Songshan City, Zi Guangbo had only been able to gather superficial information. And without actual research, there wouldn't be any concrete results online. Lin Yi had the taxi driver take him into the Blue City, then took another taxi to the North District, where he checked into a hotel. Eastern tourists like Lin Yi were quite common, so no one at the hotel paid him any attention. After a casual glance at the room, Lin Yi, wearing sunglasses, left the hotel and casually strolled through the streets of the North District. A repair shop? Of course, Lin Yi wouldn't ask passers-by about the location. That might cause unnecessary trouble. Who knew if any of these people had connections to the Blue Water Gang? Lin Yi's goal was to bring Xi Jinping back directly, not to cause trouble for the Blue Water Gang. Chapter 324. Arriving in a small town. Lin Yi strolled leisurely through the streets of the North District. He had no particular destination in mind, so he simply remembered the way back. At a bank ATM, he withdrew a few €1,000, pocketing them for spending money, before continuing his wandering through the North District. Lin Yi frowned. He hadn't realized how vast and diverse the North District truly was until he came out. Nightclubs, discos, and karaoke bars were everywhere. It seemed the closer to the Water Blue Gang's headquarters, the more these businesses flourished. Lin Yi refused to believe these were legitimate businesses. He had already spotted several glamorously dressed women flirting with him as he passed by. Of course, Lin Yi didn't know if the sex trade was illegal there, and he didn't have the time to research it. After a moment's hesitation, he made a bold decision and stopped a man wearing a blue baseball cap and a scar on his face. He looked like a bad guy, especially the obvious gang insignia on his head. However, this guy was clearly not a high-ranking member of the Water Blue Gang, because he would walk around the streets alone without bodyguards. "Kid, do you know who I am? Are you looking for death?" The scarred man didn't expect Lin Yi to suddenly stop him, and immediately started yelling in the local dialect. "Hey, brother, don't be impatient." Lin Yi looked around cautiously, then whispered, "I'm from out of town. I heard the Water Blue Gang has some cheap cars for sale, and I'd like to buy one for fun. Does he have any connections? Don't worry, it'll be good." "Oh? You want to buy a car?" The scarred man looked Lin Yi up and down. Lin Yi's obviously foreign skin color, dress, and age didn't look like an undercover agent sent by the police, so he didn't say anything else. The Water Blue Gang indeed possessed a large number of stolen vehicles, which served as one of their sources of income. They purchased large quantities of black market and stolen cars from other cities, altered their engine and license plate numbers, and then sold them to smaller, less regulated areas. Lower-level members of the Water Blue Gang, whether selling stolen vehicles or drugs, or even taking clients to the casino, received substantial commissions, practically relying on these fees to survive. So, upon hearing that Lin Yi was looking for a car, the scarred man immediately piqued his interest. "What kind of car are you buying? How much is it?" Scarface didn't ask Lin Yi what he was going to do with a stolen car. There was no need to ask, it was basically the norm in the industry. They didn't ask about a car's original origins, and you didn't need to worry about what you did with it after it was sold. After all, it was a cash-for-deal transaction, and no one owed anyone anything. Anything will do, just a little bit cheaper. Lin Yi naturally wasn't going to go all out by buying an expensive stolen car. Things like this are thrown away after use anyway. Even though Lin Yi used Uncle Fu's credit card, he didn't want to cause trouble. Who knew if this guy was the type to be blinded by money? What if he saw his lavish spending and had evil intentions? Although Lin Yi wasn't afraid of him, his main purpose for this trip was to bring Xi Jinping back to China. He had no intention of causing any conflict with the Xuanyuan gang. Whether these guys were good or bad was irrelevant to Lin Yi. Scarface wasn't disappointed when he heard Lin Yi's words. After all, those luxury stolen cars were almost always smuggled to other countries, and those left for self-sale weren't good stuff. For someone like him, making one such deal a month was already quite good, so he didn't mind. They're all very cheap, ranging from a few €100 to a few €1,000. US dollars are also acceptable. "Take me to see it," Lin Yi said. "Follow me." Scarface nodded and led Lin Yi through the North District. Lin Yi followed him leisurely. After about 10 minutes of walking, they arrived at the entrance of an auto repair shop. A smile played across Lin Yi's lips. It seemed his bet was right. The stolen cars of the Water Blue Gang were indeed stored in a repair shop. This repair shop must be the Water Blue Gang's headquarters. "York, who is this guy?" A Blue Gang member wearing a blue hat guard in the repair shop entrance clearly knew Scarface, but he didn't recognize Lin Yi. "I'm here to buy a car." Scarface York greeted him with a smile, and then swaggered into the repair shop with Lin Yi. Clearly, they didn't think Lin Yi could cause much trouble on his own in the Water Blue Gang's territory, so they didn't even search him and let him through. Lin Yi shook his head secretly. The Water Blue Gang's management was a bit too lax. In fact, in Blue Town, the Water Blue Gang was the overlord. Even if someone dared to cause trouble at the Water Blue Gang headquarters, or even provoke them anywhere else in the town, the Water Blue Gang members would quickly eliminate them. York led Lin Yi to a large yard behind the repair shop, where nearly 100 cars were parked in a chaotic manner. Some models Lin Yi had seen before, others he hadn't, but all looked quite old. They're all here. If you like any one, you can go in and try it out. It's okay. York's attitude was very positive. After all, if this deal was successful, he could get a very high commission, which would provide him with pocket money for the month. This one, Lin Yi said, pointing to an unremarkable old Santana sedan. This one, I'll give you a discount. How about 500 euros? York glanced at the car Lin Yi was talking about and quoted a price. It's a bit expensive, but I'm buying it with sincerity. Lin Yi shook his head. It's not expensive. The price is very reasonable. It's a 10-year-old car and it still performs well, York said. 400, maybe. Lin Yi took a look at the car's make and condition, estimating it was from the 1990s. It was probably about the same age as himself, 10 years to go, or even 18. A little higher, 450, York asked tentatively. Actually, Lin Yi's bargaining wasn't particularly drastic, it was basically a normal price, and he seemed genuinely sincere. That's it. This car is more than 10 years old, and I'm just buying it to drive around. I might throw it away in a few days, Lin Yi said. Alright, 400 is 400, York nodded readily. Cash on delivery. I'm going to be staying in town for a few days to run some other things. Will the car be a problem here? Lin Yi asked. Chapter 325 Cool Girl. No, write down my number. If anyone stops you, just call me. York paused, then took off his hat and handed it to Lin Yi. This way, if you wear my hat, the police in this city won't bother our Blue Water Gang. Okay, thank you. Lin Yi took the hat and put it on his head. If anyone bothers me, I'll just say I'm your boss, York's underling. Okay, of course. York was so happy to hear Lin Yi call him boss that he couldn't stop smiling. Just ask. York, still have some respect in this little blue city? Lin Yi nodded and counted out 400 euros to hand over to York. Lin Yi only had a few thousand euros in his pocket, so York didn't envy him. After taking the money, he let Lin Yi get in the car. The car keys were stuck in the car, so there was no need to worry about them being stolen in the repair shop. Lin Yi drove out of the repair shop. With his hat, many things became much easier for Lin Yi. York thought he was getting a great deal. The car hadn't gone far from the repair shop when it spotted a pretty girl standing on the side of the road, hailing cars. Seeing Lin Yi's car approach, she waved. Of course, Lin Yi wasn't particularly interested in the women who tried to pick him up. In the North District, he'd been approached by at least 80 women, their professions unknown. But Lin Yi noticed this particular girl because she was Asian, and in this foreign land, seeing an Asian woman was particularly endearing. The girl's cool face, sunglasses, and tight black outfit were quite striking. But Lin Yi felt a sense of familiarity, even though the sunglasses obscured most of her features. If it weren't for the familiarity, simply because the girl looked Asian, Lin Yi wouldn't have stopped the car. What's up? Lin Yi, wearing a blue baseball cap and large sunglasses, likely looked similar to the girl's outfit, making his true appearance difficult to discern from the outside. Handsome, can I get a ride? The girl forced a smile onto her face. Hitch a ride? I don't even know where I'm going, how can I give you a ride? Lin Yi was looking at the girl while he was talking. The girl looked very familiar, giving Lin Yi a sense of déjà vu, but he couldn't put his finger on it for a moment. Lin Yi had met so many people over the years that it was normal to feel familiar with someone occasionally. That's perfect. If you don't know where you're going, just take me to Ken River Hotel. The cool girl opened the passenger door without hesitation and got in the car. How? Lin Yi smiled. I don't know where Ken River Hotel is either. Huh? The cool girl was slightly stunned. Aren't you from the Xuanyuan gang? How could you not know where Ken River Hotel is? I just joined. Is there any problem? Lin Yi shrugged. Oh, nothing. You drive. I'll show you the way. The cool girl's voice sounded slightly disappointed, but still very cold. Lin Yi started the car and slowly drove forward, his eyes scanning the beautiful girl beside him. Out-of-town tourist, but after asking, Lin Yi felt it was impossible. How could a tourist be so bold as to stand on the street and hitchhike? Especially knowing she was a member of the Blue Water Gang, and still dare to take a ride? Wasn't she afraid of death? Thinking of this, Lin Yi became curious about the girl's identity. Had he seen her before? If he could take off her sunglasses, perhaps he could remember. Self-guided tour, the girl's answer surprised Lin Yi. Self-guided tour? You know about the Blue Water Gang? Lin Yi asked back. The girl was clearly lying. Interested? I admire the strong. The girl tried to make her smile more charming, but the forced smile on her cool face was little more than a sneer. Lin Yi was speechless. It's not like lying like that, is it? Still, it was a bit amusing. Worship the strong? So, you came to the Water Blue Gang specifically to wait for a ride? Yeah, didn't I meet you? The cool chick smiled. Tell me about your gang, okay? I want to hear it. Sorry, I told you I just joined. I'm sorry to disappoint you. Lin Yi was becoming increasingly curious about this cool chick. She couldn't even lie very well, so what was she up to? Then you should also know who the leader of your gang is, right? Is it Hugh Landon? I heard it's him, the cool chick asked. Probably. Lin Yi had looked up information about the Water Blue Gang online, and it seemed that the leader was named that. Do you know where he is? The cool chick ignored Lin Yi's probably and continued, is he in this repair shop? Or in the Blue Castle? In the repair shop, Lin Yi replied casually, which was also the information he had heard from the taxi driver. Oh, so, then, can you usually see him? Does he usually work in that building? Cool chick continued to ask curiously. Then I don't know. Lin Yi wasn't really a member of the Blue Water Gang, so how could he know so much? Why don't you know anything? Cool chick was a little angry. Then can you take me to see him? Why do you want to see him? Lin Yi felt that this cool chick was a little strange. But after asking this question, Lin Yi frowned, because he saw a black business car following him from a distance. He was so busy talking to cool chick that he didn't know where the Ken River Hotel she mentioned was. He was driving aimlessly, and even then, the business car was following him from a distance. Lin Yi didn't believe that they were not following him. Someone from the Blue Water Gang? Lin Yi frowned, thinking back to his previous behavior. There was nothing suspicious. He hadn't even revealed his purpose. He didn't even dare to carry more cash. Why would someone from the Blue Water Gang follow him? What had also puzzled Lin Yi was that this commercial vehicle should have followed from behind, not from the Shulin Gang's repair shop. When Lin Yi left the repair shop, he looked back and saw no one following him. Could it be the person following this cool girl? Thinking of this, Lin Yi felt it was possible. Perhaps the commercial vehicle behind had caught up with this cool girl before and after. Who is this cool girl? End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.